you for tuning in. Today is Canada Day, July 1st, 2022. For Canada Day today, I'll be sharing photographs and video footage of an anti-racism protest I attended in August of 2017, which was in response to some white supremacists from the USA who planned to promote their racist ideals. The protest was peaceful, and thousands of people attended to express their objections, including me, and I eventually got to ask the main spokesperson, named Bendan, for his perspective on Section 15 of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is from the Canadian Constitution, since it prohibits racism, sexism, and other forms of discrimination. Once again, thank you to everybody for tuning in, and we'll be starting in just a moment. Good morning. I see there's many people in the audience here today. I really appreciate everybody being here. I hope that everybody can hear me okay. Just going to do a quick check of my audio here. Good morning. And it sounds like it's working. Excellent. So, what we're looking at here is a picture of Vancouver City Hall. And we are currently facing northward. So we're on the south side of the building, which is where the front entrance is. It's on 12th Avenue, next to Cambie Road, or Cambie Street, which are both main streets in Vancouver. There's a lot of residences nearby. It's kind of a residential area as well. And the time on that clock there is correct for the time of day of this event. This was on August the 19th in 2017, and I've been meaning to share these pictures with the world for quite some time now. So I'll start with the slideshow and I'll explain as we're going along here. So this is walking into the front entrance, and this is before the event started. As you can see, there's a lot of people here. In a moment, we're going to hear some video footage. We're going to see some video footage and hear some singing by Indigenous people who are also joining the protest. And then I'll explain what led up to me coming to this event. And you're going to see a lot of signs and a lot of interesting scenery from the protest. So, again, we're early for this event, and there's already a lot of people here. Going to skip a little bit ahead here because this goes on, it becomes quite repetitive. It is when the Indigenous people in Canada show up at these protests, they'll often put on a presentation like this. It's a lovely presentation, and just skipping ahead here a little bit. few more people have joined in here. They do this a number of times throughout, and this is my main recording of this. It does remind me of when I was in elementary school, because I went to school with a number of Indigenous people, and I joined some of the powwows and whatnot. It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you ever get the opportunity. Okay.
I just on that question, everyone is equal.
So now, before the event has begun, people are already having conversations about all sorts of different topics here.
Being able to vote. No one is marginalized. We don't have ID laws like in certain states. There's very little gerrymandering.
I love that you just said that. I can't speak to this because I'm not Indigenous. Right. I want you to go up to any of the Indigenous people and tell them to pull out their status cards. Right. I want you to pull out the Indian Act. Why is it that we have the original peoples of our society that do have passes, that literally have to prove who they are? I'm sorry, I disagree with that, right? Perhaps it's not at the extremes that it is in the States, but at the same time, I have privilege. You know, I had contacts in terms of phoning politicians to come speak today, right? To come phone. But I know for a fact there are multiple people, and you can go to anywhere, from people that are facing rent evictions in the West End, from people in the downtown East Side, from people in Metrotown.
And just in case anybody's wondering what a rent eviction is, it's when a landlord wants to evict somebody, and they use the need for renovation as the excuse, as the justification. Sometimes renovations really are needed because there may be a building safety issue, but there are other times when it's been found that the landlord was only using that as an excuse because they wanted to increase the rent by a large amount. And so of course the tenant has rights here in Canada, particularly in our province, British Columbia, where they can't, where there's a limit on how much the rent can be raised each year. And so the way to get around that is for the landlord to evict the tenant and then bring in a new tenant at the higher rate that is much higher than the normal allowable increase. And so if the tenant agrees to leave, then the landlord can charge whatever they want to the new tenant, and that's a normal thing. So the objection that many landlords have is that the increase in rent, the limitation on it, doesn't keep up with the increased cost of living. So there's this back and forth going on. So the question is, are the renovations a legitimate justification or not for justifying the eviction? So they call these rent evictions. And when they're talking about rent evictions, they're normally specifically talking about the use of the excuse of a renovation to evict someone.
Cannot get a meeting with anybody, that are kicked out of their own meetings of places they live. So I'm sorry, we need to look at the experiences of people that live here, right, and realize that not everybody has the same experience.
Well, a great example.
And that includes, you know, the other, you know, the CAP,
the other. The boards, for example, having their meetings in all Chinese, right? There's a lawsuit still going through the courts right now. It's gone to the Supreme Court here in BC regarding one English-speaking individual against the board's refusal to do any of the meetings in English.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Can everybody?
Okay, so I'm going to start.
The meetings in English.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just went back 5 seconds.
Can everybody afford the court fees, the lawyers, the time to conduct that? So it does give certain people the right to do. I'm not saying that like we all have.
Somebody had a sign there,
right?
So about privilege.
Here we go.
You identify privilege with the color of your skin and the gender identity specifically.
Absolutely. I'm a cisgender female. I'm highly educated, just in terms of degrees. I'm not trying to, I'm doing my master's, right? But at the same time, the second I walk in a room and people hear maybe that I have a lilt of an accent, that I'm a Sephardic Jew, which is an Arabic Jew, that I say certain things.
I wouldn't have any idea.
I get that. But in my, well, sir, but I've had on Facebook right now, there are people attacking me.
Well, sure, every individual faces discrimination, no matter where you are.
So you know what? That's why we're here today.
So let me ask
Everybody should
you,
be
do you
here
believe
today.
that to have a national immigration policy is an institutionalized racism?
How do we build that immigration policy?
Well, I guess it's built on public debate and public voting and political over the years.
So, if that's the case, then I would love for individuals that are pamphleting streets with get the immigrants out instead to pamphlet the political offices, to go have meetings with them, to go to the seat of power. But terrifying individuals.
So you don't believe that that's an institutional racism, to have a policy in place?
No. How can we not have a policy?
Right.
But also, we don't exist in a vacuum, right? We have right now in the States, and I went to school in the States, I know many people in the States that are fearing for their lives. And I don't know about you, but when you see all these things happening around, of people being bullied, of being deported unfairly.
Where we can point to those people, we can stand together and defend them. But to say generally that this happens is too easy.
Now let's just talk about your privilege for 1 second, okay?
Oh, my privilege?
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
now her and I are both short individuals, right? You're a tall individual. So does that give you privilege over us short individuals because of your stature, status? There's all sorts of statistics.
Almost everything.
Right? But that's so then should then as a person without privilege, in that case, should the government subsidize larger shoes or perhaps a equalization at birth? My question is privilege. Where's your opinion about privilege begin and end? Because she seems to have a very widespread, strong-winded opinion of privilege, and you seem to be bothered by that. So where's your opinion on privilege end? Or do you think privilege exists essentially? But people,
I think we should all have the same rights. I don't believe in equal outcomes.
So he's saying that we should all have the same rights. I wholeheartedly agree with that. As you might be noticing, more and more people are beginning to show up. It's getting more crowded, and this is before the event. I was probably an hour or two early for this because I wanted to make sure I'd get a good spot to see things. I was expecting that there'd probably at most be about 300 people here, but instead thousands of people showed up. Thousands of people to oppose the white supremacist views that were going to be presented by the white supremacists who came from the USA to visit us. They apparently scheduled and maybe even paid for the option to present out on the grounds of Vancouver City Hall here. They did schedule it, I know that much, because that was announced on CBC radio just earlier in the week. And so I decided that I got to come out here, hear what they have to say, and put out my point of view. Now, in a moment, you'll see other people are going to join us too, and there's going to be somebody that probably most of you will recognize. I didn't know him at the time, but we later on did meet at another event and got to know each other. And I did recognize him as soon as I heard his voice, but I wasn't quite sure it was him at first. You'll see he's quite well known in the atheism communities, and you'll see him in just a moment here.
Can be something that's earned, and to take that away from somebody is to basically steal from them. So in a political sense, in a all working together sense, I believe we need to have a real tax rate that can really take care of real people. Now, is that a 0? Is that 100%? No.
There. Do you see that guy with the sunglasses and the black shirt? You'll recognize who he is, I'm sure, as soon as you hear his voice, if you don't recognize him already.
Maybe it's 35%, but we can agree on those things. Now, are there limits to what we can do with that money? Of course there are, and that's called budget, and that's called working together to figure out what needs to be done first. And I think we do that in Canada. I think we're a tolerant country, and we do that maybe more than a lot of places. So I think in a pluralistic society, more voices than ever need to be heard. And I'm here to listen to all sides. I'm here with my son, so he can form some opinions too.
Are you identifying
I don't believe in
with
real
any
two
groups?
sides. I believe in we're together and we can address problems more directly together than just to be bipolar.
I do think though the best way to tackle bad ideas is with good ideas. And you can't tackle bad ideas with good ideas if you silence them. I think people
This is Armin Navabi from the Atheist Republic, for those who don't recognize him yet. And I see more people are joining my audience here too. Thank you very much, everybody. And so what Armin is talking about is that you need to use good ideas to respond to bad ideas, which I think is a great thing to encourage. He did say the only way to do this properly is with good ideas, and I'm not so convinced that that's 100% the case, but I do think it's the right approach. So I do agree with him, and everybody here so far seems to be on the same page for these pre-protest discussions on equality is what everybody deserves. Now, somebody in our live text chat has just mentioned, Gary Priestley, thank you for this comment. You're saying the equal rights and equal opportunity and equal outcomes is always an interesting conversation. Yes, and it's a very important conversation because it fits with human rights. We have people, the equality of outcome is the difficult one. Because it's not realistic, because people have different physical capabilities, different mental capabilities and whatnot. But equal rights and equal opportunity are definitely something we can and must do.
On the other side, they're shamed and silenced and demonized, and there's no way for us to fix this issue if we don't listen to them and give them an opportunity to say their ideas, and instead of just calling them bigots and racists and go home, try to understand where they're coming from and just respond to them with why we think they are wrong, right?
Yeah, and this is so important that we listen to people instead of silencing them. And that is the comment that he's making. It doesn't matter how bad their ideas are. If we silence them as a society, then the problem, the way I see it, is many times they'll go underground, feeling discouraged perhaps, but they will go underground where they will often meet others who share their views, and then at some point in the future it can become quite explosive and very dangerous for society. So it's so important that that we do. I'm not saying we need to platform them, but I mean, if we don't exclude, we try to be inclusive as much as possible, and then we can respond in a civil manner and say, hey, listen, I don't agree with your idea, and here's why, and have that conversation. And that's what Armin Navabi here is promoting as well.
And I think
a lot of space and compassion. First and foremost, everyone wants to be heard.
I believe that
Even if they're misunderstood or misunderstanding, everybody wants to be heard.
no Nazi has ever changed his or her opinion by somebody calling him a fascist, bigot. But there are lots of former Nazis that change their opinion because somebody listened to them and somebody talked to them, right? I don't think attacking people personally is going to fix anything. In fact,
and ostracism is a brilliant strategy, but it only works because people are already conditioned to do it.
And if you silence people, these people are not going to go away. And these opinions are not going to go away.
Right.
All you're doing is you're hiding these ideas, and if you keep hiding them, it's going to grow, and it's going to come back, and it's going to bite you in a bigger way. Just like Trump is a response to the PC culture in the United States, right?
I would agree.
Right. So I think if you always fight these people and you don't let them express themselves, there's no way for us to recognize it as a problem and address it as a problem and challenge their views, right? We want them to come out, and we should actually even welcome them to come out, and we should welcome them to speak, and instead of throwing bottles at them or fight them or demonize them, we should tell them why we think they are wrong. And that's the best way to challenge. The only way to tackle bad ideas is with good ideas instead of silencing bad ideas.
The idea that we have a politically homogenous society, which we do in a large degree, groups of people think the same way, it really creates a problem. You need to have open dialogue, open debate across the board so that sunlight can disinfect the badness.
Yeah.
So the voice can vary. So I'm here to listen, I'm here to say that basically.
Does anybody watching have anything to say? Does anybody have any opinions they want to share?
I think he disagrees with us.
Yeah, you have something you want to share?
I'm not.
Sorry?
No. Yeah.
So that was a great conversation, and what I really like about these kinds of conversations I'm hearing And I heard quite a few of them, but this is one of the few that I actually recorded. It came through really well in my recordings. Not all my recordings went through. You couldn't hear things. I had to remove them, unfortunately. I would have loved to have had more of these conversations to showcase here and to include here. This is the quality of the protesters here, the intellectual quality. They're here to talk about these important issues and listen to their mindset. It's all about inclusiveness. It's about being respectful. It's about not shutting people down just for the sake of shutting them down. They're not taking a black and white view. They want to understand what the point of view of other people is, and then open up a great quality, a high quality discussion with them. And I think this is better. And you know, one of the reasons I think it's so important for people to have to be heard, when even if they have bad ideas, is because it can be therapeutic for them. So now we're going to look at some photographs, and we'll be switching throughout photos and videos here on all of this. I'm using Videoland, the VLC player, the open source media player, to run a playlist through all these pictures and videos in chronological order, so nothing's out of step here. The only exception was the very first image, because I thought it was a great image to start with, and you saw it was probably noticed that it was duplicated earlier on, but that was before this video. Here we're looking at how crowded it is already, and this is still sparse compared to later. There's a lot of people here, and I will read the signs that I can. This sign here, we can't quite see it. It's because part of it is blocked, but maybe we'll have an opportunity a little later on here. Oh, some more video. It's very short. So I'm going to just try to get a view of this sign. This sign says, "Hate is a waste of a finite life. Love each other." What a fantastic sign. And we're going to be treated with many more of these great signs throughout that have all kinds of different messages. And to me, this is the way protests should be. So this one here is a piece of paper that was posted around in a number of spots, and I'll just read it out quickly. It says, and there's a website attached to it, www.naziesagainstnazis.myevent.com. So it says, "Welcome to the Nazis Against Nazis fundraiser. For each of you Nazis that shows up to this rally, $10 will be donated to CAERS, which is the Canadian Anti-Racism Education and Research Society, which helps the victims of racism and tracks hate group activities to share with law enforcement. Thank you for your participation." I love these protests. There's so many interesting things, and this is no exception to it. And, you know, it's nice what they're doing. So CUPE, just in case you're wondering, is CUPE. That's this red sign that, I'll just go back so we can see the whole flag, the banner here. So you can see CUPE, that's the Canadian Union of Public Employees. BCGEU, the yellow flag, is, I think that's a union as well, but I'm not entirely positive on that, so don't take my word for it. But there are a number of different banners that you'll see throughout. And you see that ball in the background that has the word love on it. That's a big, giant beach ball that gets tossed around, and you'll see it a few more times throughout. Okay, there's a sign here. I just want to read that. No racism in Canada. Yes, I agree. You know, and we have this in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms under Section 15, which is part of our Canadian Constitution. There is a prohibition on racism and discrimination on other things, not just race, but also sex, and a variety of other factors used as examples. And it is. This was added to our Constitution in 1982. Before that, prior to that, there was the Bill of Rights, which most of it got carried through into our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So this is right on. It's already law, and it's unfortunate that there are racist people even here in Canada, and that's why so many people came out to protest. Excellent sign. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah.
I just thank her for carrying that sign around.
Taking your feet out on.
Okay, we're going to see that sign later. Here we are. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. Clap, clap. And then there's a picture of a camera with the word snap on it. And many people brought their children to this event, and they're taking pictures and whatnot. We'll see that green sign a little bit later, but I'll just tell you what it says. And mankind is not but a single nation. They're quoting the Holy Quran on that one. So here they say diversity equals strength on this sign. I don't agree with that. I think of diversity as more of an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. Now, somebody in our audience, hello, Jerome Robinson, thank you for joining in, and thank you to everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. You're just asking that you just got recommended this video. What's Canada Day? Well, Canada Day is July 1st of every year. We are more than 150 years old now as a country. We've been around longer than 150 years, and so we're just some people celebrate it, other people do different things. This is what I like to do, is to cover videos. Now, just as a note, if you look in the YouTube video description, you'll see that this is something that occurred. I'm showing an event, a protest against racists who came to Canada to present their ideas, which I consider to be bad ideas. This was on August of 2017, August 19th, and so we're here protesting, and I see somebody else just joined as well. Milos, M-I-L-O-S, thank you for joining. You're claiming Canada is dead. No, we're quite alive and well. So, as you can see here. So, this sign here says, "Love is my mission." Wonderful sentiments here. There's a few of these signs of the same style, so I think they're together. It says, "We beat them before we can do it again." I think that's what it says. We'll get a closer view of that sign later. Here's another organizational flag, FPSE. It may be another union, workers' union. There's the green sign that I told you about, and what they're quoting from the Holy Quran there is chapter 2, verse 213, I think. So there's one sign there that says love for all, another one says peace. There's the "You're Fired" sign again, and here's another sign I really like. It says, "Our Canada is multicultural." I grew up here in multicultural environment, and so to me this is normal. And here again we see people with their children here as well. It's a really wonderful family event. Here's another one that says, "My Canada includes Muslims." Yes, it does. Here's another one, live with love. Sorry, live with love. And another one, "Our security lies in our in our fight for the rights." We'll get a closer look at this sign later. Rights of all. That's what it says. So here, there's this. It's curious. There's this structure here. I think there was an intention to put a cover on it in case there was rain, but it turned out the weather is bright and sunny today, so they didn't need it. Here's another sign that says, "Love trumps hate." And you see this person with a musical instrument? I think he's waiting for the rest of his band to show up, and then they're going to be playing some music as well.
They're pretty similar. Well, I'm Sarah. I got this. Yeah. I think I'm. Thank you. God, there's so many.
As you can see, it's getting a lot more crowded now. There's a white sign here that says, with black lettering, says, "United Against Hatred." I can't quite read this sign because of the lighting. That's an example. I kept this one in, but I had some pictures that just didn't work out at all because the lighting just, the sunlight messed up my my camera view. If you're having trouble reading that sign, I'm having trouble reading it too. It's in a different language. It looks like the main words on it are his shuck nish. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm assuming the sentiments are right in line with all the other signage here.
We are many, they are few. We are many, they are few. We are many, they are few. We are many, they are few.
In case anybody's having trouble making out what they're saying, they're chanting here is, "We are many, they are few." I just went back for a moment. You see this flag here? Somebody's taken the Canadian flag and they've modified the red bars on the side to be a bunch of rainbow colors. We'll get another better look at this flag in a moment, or later on at some point, but I love it. I really like the way this is presented, and if our Canadian flag was updated to this, I'd have no objection to it. I think it's lovely. Milos, I see that you're concerned that your comments won't be taken well in the live text chat. Just so you know, we were just talking before you joined in about how important it is to understand other people's points of view. So I'm certainly interested. You did start off with a message that Canada is dead, and of course I disagreed, but I haven't stopped you from presenting your ideas. So here's a sign that has the word peace on it, and that, as we'll get a better look at this later, is the scientist guy from the Rick and Morty cartoon inside of a Looney Tunes circle. They've mixed these two together. It's hilarious. And you can see it's a sea of people here, but it's still, there's going to be more people. It's not everybody's here yet. And you probably recognize the music in the background from what was being played earlier. Being performed earlier is what I meant to say. So here's a better shot of that sign. There are some things, "I am a person," and they have some other text before the word person that's crossed out. So, I'm going to skip past these a little faster. It's giving you an idea of how the protest looks. Look at these people. Everybody's quite orderly. We're a civil society. We have people who are genuinely concerned about the problems with racism.
So maybe we'll just do some waving, clapping, and chanting while I see if I can find some really. Thanks, folks. How about no hate, no fear? Nazis are not welcome here.
No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here is what the crowd is calling out right now.
No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nazis are not
So Milos, you're asking about Nazis. You will see them later. They will show up. The white supremacists who organized to come to this event and probably weren't expecting this much response are they come with shirts that promote Donald Trump. This is, I think, just before he got elected in the USA, and they came from the USA. They want to promote white supremacy, which I disagree with, and which thousands of people who showed up today also disagree with, and is also is prohibited under our Constitution here in Canada. They apparently, people found, looking into them, they found that they have involvement in some neo-Nazi circles, so that's why people are referring to them as Nazis. Look at the beautiful artwork on that drum. People coming to this protest are just putting so much into it, and we're seeing a lot of creativity, and you'll see more of the signs and creativity on the signs and whatnot. Here in the background here you can see this gentleman who was featured early on. He's got an independent media effort that he's working on, and we do get his website later on. They're chanting, "Whose street? Our streets. Whose street? Our street." So I see Milos is indicating that social divide is not good. Yeah, I agree. It's what's happening here is people are rejecting attempts by racists to divide society. People who care about society not being divided socially and whatnot are here to voice their concerns and to voice their objections to it. There's a better view of that flag with the rainbows instead of just purely red bars. Now, just so you know, this person wearing a mask, this is before the pandemic. This is before any mask mandates. So this is why we're not seeing anybody wearing masks. This is 2017, August, remember. If people in this time were wearing masks like this, the impression was nothing to do with that. It was, depending on the type of mask, they'll be thought of as wearing, as trying to hide their identity, or because they don't want to get somebody else sick with whatever ailment they may have. The latter is the usual reason. This kind of mask looks more like a medical mask, and that'll be the reason for that.
I guess I'm your protector.
And I've been moved back and forth like 5 times. Okay, what can you expect?
So, Professor Mohan Singh Memorial Foundation stands against racism and bigotry. And they have a website address listed there, www.profmohan, M-O-H-A-N, Singh, S-I-N-G-H, Memorial Foundation I think it's .com or .ca. It may be .org. Wow, this red streak on this guy's shirt. Like I saw a lot of interesting clothing styles today on this day. We're going to read that guy's shirt in a moment, but I'm going to get an actual photograph of it. Almost everybody is happy to let me take their photographs of their signs or their shirts. Looks like it's .ca for this website that I just mentioned. So here they've got this furry thing on the microphone I found out is called a dead cat. Okay, so here's the shirt I just mentioned. This guy's wearing Nazi punch. F yeah. And they're punching a strange depiction of an unflattering depiction of Adolf Hitler, and the word hate is on his tongue. He's lost a couple of teeth here. There's a lot of anger toward him because what he did was hostile to the human species, to our whole world population. And this person's sign says, "Disabled queers for the resistance." The resistance they're referring to here is actually an American thing. There were people who were promoting voting for the Democrat Party with Hillary Clinton because they were so opposed to Donald Trump getting elected, and so they started calling it the resistance.
We stand on the lands of my ancestors. We go back 10,000 years and more. We go back to the first sunrise here in Westfield, sacred land. I wanted to stand here as my ancestors stood here for thousands and thousands of years. My ancestors come from Musqueam, from Salewata, in Squamish.
So the 10,000 years of history that they're talking about is the indigenous people's history, and they're talking about diversity and inclusiveness, which is a very nice message. And it's an important message too. If you're having trouble understanding what that lady was saying, she's speaking in a different language. I believe it's one of the indigenous languages, but I'm not sure. So here's some more signage. No home for Nazis. I don't advocate making people homeless, but the sentiments are understandable because there's a lot of hostility toward the Nazis who have shown a complete disregard for human rights and people's sovereignty and whatnot, and promoted white supremacy. Here's another one, another beautiful sign showing, imagine all the people sharing all the world. Yeah, we need to, we're doing that, but we're not sharing it very well. We need to be better at that. Somebody else is carrying the flag of the USSR. They're actually not promoting the USSR, they're going against it. Here you see it looks like a drink bottle with a line through it, like the do not enter sign, or do not smoke, or do not do this kind of signage. And it looks like a transparent sign because it's just the frame of it. This is really interesting signage here. We'll get a closer look at this Islamophobia sign in a moment. And again, you're seeing people have brought their children again. There's a lot of people here of all ages. And here, my camera, the depth perception thing, it got a picture of a branch here. That's a good picture of the branch, but it blurred everything else out. We'll skip past these ones. There's a few here. Okay. Now here's another one, another sign that reads, welcome immigrants, and then another one is no nation without immigrants. I'm guessing these people are together as a group because there's similarities in the signage. And the reason you're seeing houses here in the background is they're on the other side of the street. They're on the south side of 12th Avenue, which is right directly across from Vancouver City Hall here. Yes, and for those who don't know, we're in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. They're out on their front porches looking onward, and what you can see, example of this orderly protest, is you don't see protesters going onto their yard, onto their private property, and using their space to see things. Everyone's orderly and in the street here, and there's no problem. It's really nice to see these peaceful protests. This sign here we can't quite read, but we get a better picture of it later. And I love how the no stopping sign on the street for street parking is right here. It says no parking 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's because it is a busy street normally, but today there's an exception. The street's actually blocked off by the police when they realize so many people are here, and it fits in, no stopping. It's a perfect fit here. Don't stop protesting is how I'd read that. Okay, so Islamophobia is a tool of public manipulation. Yeah, and I have problems with the term Islamophobia, but I'm not really going to get into it here. It's just it's not used in the way that it's intuitively expected. So there's a few people who are promoting their religion here, but the majority, there's no mention of it at all. because here in Canada it's quite common for people to keep politics and religion as more personal topics. They kind of regard it as more personal, and so you'll see a little bit of it here and there, but it's not the main focus of things. Here's a sign that reads, "Inequality and isolation creates insecure." We'll hopefully get a better look at the sign. I didn't read the last two words because they're blocked here. The view of them is blocked. Deport the racists. Yeah, deport them to where? We need to be more trying to rehabilitate people, trying to help people instead of just tossing them away like trash. So again, people are very angry and don't want anything to do with it. They want to distance themselves from these people is what the message is there. Here's another sign. It's very clever. It says, "Good night, alt-right." Somebody's wearing a baseball cap here. It looks like it has pictures of outer space. Very nice. Another one says, "No hate." Very simple signs. Some of them have a lot more complicated message on them. Look at all the people here. There's quite a few photographers out here, and some of these people with all their camera gear, I assume that they're professional photographers. I definitely don't look like a professional photographer here because I'm just the guy walking around with a camera. But they're Canada, what are you thinking? Is what one sign there says. So now look at all these people here. This is getting quite crowded now. It's like shoulder to shoulder. There's not much room. Like I tried to walk through the crowd and I couldn't get through it because it was just so packed. So I just started taking a few more pictures because I couldn't get anywhere here. This sign here behind this lady reads, "Racism reeks of ignorance. There is a cure." So I like that a lot better than the deporting one. There's some moment of silence being declared here. I forgot what it was for. I think it was because somebody lost their life in some kind of a hate crime. Not today. It was a recent, fairly recent though. So we're all facing southward here because the 12th Avenue is on the south side of City Hall. Look at all this, and nobody's standing in the garden here messing it all up. They're all, again, very orderly here. It's wonderful the way we protest, and look at the diversity of all these different people and different ages and everything. You know, it really shows what Canada is, and shows so many people. And here's somebody holding a simple sign that says "No to bigotry." Signs of any size are fine for these things, for these protests. Someone brings up the pirate flag here. This one looks sophisticated. I don't know what this flag is for, this blue and black and red one and white. See, there's a few of these are a little bit repetitive, so I'm just skipping past them quickly.
Thank you so much, Winona. Thank you, Christy. And thank you, Melanie, for those powerful words.
Yeah, that was a moment of silence for something. My recording didn't work out. I don't know what happened. The audio went completely sideways. Otherwise, I would have included that speech. So this sign says, "Keep calm and love." They spell it L-U-V. Freedom of expression. You can spell or misspell however you like. So many people here. Thousands. I've heard estimates afterwards of there being up to 30,000 people. The more common estimates were somewhere between, putting a range on it, about 5,000 to 10,000 people. and that seems closer to 10,000 seems right to me. I don't know who this gentleman is drawn in this picture, but the shirt reads, "Give peace a chance."
Set up, you guys are just ready.
We're always ready. Come on.
Perpetually.
We're always ready.
You might remember a fellow calling response. And I loved it because I was in the crowd and I could respond. You guys have so much energy. I'm sure you might like to do it too.
So the band is here.
It's like a dream come true.
They got the band back together.
So how it goes is this: I make a call and you make a response. I love you guys. So he used to do it like this. He'd say, "When I say people, you say power. People, power. People, power. You are a quick study. Holy crap. When I say Muslim, you say sisters. Muslims, sisters. Muslims, sisters. When I say Jewish, you say sisters. Jewish, sisters. Jewish, sisters. When I say Muslim, you say our brothers. Muslim, brothers. Muslim, brothers. When I say Jewish, you say our brothers. Jewish, brothers. Jewish, brothers. When I say hijab, you say her choice. Hijab, her choice. Hijab, her choice. That was so important to do again. When I say hijab, you say her choice. Hijab, her choice. Hijab, her choice. And I
Okay, so thank you to KUNT Hovend. You've just pointed out to me that the blue, black, white, and red flag that was showing earlier that I didn't know what it was, and we can see it over here, just a glimpse of it. I'm just circling the mouse around it on the screen. That one apparently is the Leather Pride flag. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
say stand up, you say fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. When I say stand, you say together. Stand together. Stand together. When I say no hate, you say no fear. No hate. No fear. No hate. No fear. When I say we are, you say many. We are many. We are many. When I say they are, you say few. They are few. They are few. When I say we have, you say power. We have power. We have power. When I say we will, you say win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win.
We're still waiting for the white supremacists to get here. They're not. I think they just arrived shortly after this, and then they ended up being surrounded by police for their safety. I didn't feel unsafe at this event at all. And I don't think there would have been any problem for them. They might have got pushed around a little bit, and that wouldn't have been good. So it's good that police are there to kind of keep a line between the crowd and the racists. You know, at times this protest also felt like kind of a party atmosphere. People were very happy, people were very well intended, and so this is what happens. Oh, there's a sign there just to the left. It said, it had a line through it, circle with a line through it saying the word hate, so no hate. It's he's interviewing various people. I'm more just kind of observing here. Blues Brothers now. Okay, so now we're on to more pictures, but as you could hear, it sounded like some Blues Brothers music being presented there. This picture is interesting. This lady here looks like she's pushing this guy, but she's actually not. You see, there's no shadow from her hand on his shirt. She's kind of a bit of a distance away from him and just happens to have her hands up as she's walking forward. I think she might be talking with this lady. But it looks funny. It looks like there's some pushing going on, but it's not. They're actually not that close to each other, and you can see there's another person here. So there's they're not even lined up. It's just the camera angle's funny. It would not be good if people were shoving each other around. This guy's trying to have a phone conversation amidst all this noise. Good luck to him. It's a sea of people. These are all people who care about what's going on. This guy's shirt has the words on it: Vote Jean Swanson.ca. It's Jean. I guess there's political representation here as well. So we're going to get to see some more signs closer up in a little bit here, but here it's just showing the sheer number of people, and a few people have moved around since the previous pictures. But there was a time where this crowd was moving, but it was moving so slowly. There's just so many people there. I like this guy's sign. It says, "I love tacos." Nothing to do with pushing back against racism, but it's maybe the only sign he had. Or he's just got a sense of humor. This guy's sign reads, "Immigrant and proud of it." I can't read his sign. Looks like he's holding a basket of flowers at first glance, but nope, that's just the plants. So there's that leather pride flag again. Thank you, Mr. Hovind, for that. And the union sign again. Just so many people. It's wonderful. I was expecting 300 people tops because it had such a minor mention on the radio. And then I was so delighted to see so many people showing up. This is a beautiful sign. Somebody's put a lot of work into it. They've got some light bars of making out the peace symbol on planet Earth, with a whole bunch of people holding hands. A diverse representation of of a human species, and the message is unite for peace. Such a beautiful sign. Really nice works of art on some of these signage. And then, of course, we're at the opposite end of the spectrum here now with a very aggressive message to basically a middle finger to the Nazis. Right behind it, there's a sign, ironically, says, "Love thy neighbor." What a contrast. Here's a picture of somebody taking a picture of everything with their phone. I love the sentiments on this sign. It says, "I was afraid to be here, so here I am." Yeah, there's no reason to fear being at this kind of a protest. There were no incidents. I think one of the people, members of the white supremacist group that came, ended up getting arrested by the police. Later on, the media talking about it in the news were saying he had some kind of had a knife with him or something, and so they had to deal with that. And that was the only, nobody got hurt or anything. So the green sign reads, "Racism wrong." But notice IS is in red and the rest of the letters are in black. So that would think to be read out as "racism is wrong." And another sign here is "Great with no hate." Another one shows "I support diversity." That's the blue sign. And there's a pink sign here. It says "Intolerance cannot be tolerated." Some word here I can't read, and then it says "Canada." There's an orange sign, "We stand against," I guess, some kind of bigotry or something. Hopefully we'll get a better view of some of these signs later. Alright, something about... I can't read the first part of this sign, but the rest says, "But she taught my family to love and welcome those who seem other." Yeah, I know we get another view of it later. "Black lives effing matter." Yeah, somebody's frustrated with this nonsense about the racism. So yeah, they definitely matter. And what we're seeing in the U.S. is a lot of this systemic racism problem going on, and so it does need to be brought out. I support the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. I support what they're doing. I agree with them. Okay, here, deport racists, not immigrants. Yeah, there's been some idea about deporting immigrants, and it's unfortunate that these views come up. I don't want to see anybody deported, as I mentioned before. I want to see everybody get helped. But I definitely don't want racism to have any kind of credibility in our system. This guy's got a very simple anti-Nazi swastika sign on his back. We see all styles of protest here. "I'm with her" is what this sign says, and it has a picture of a lady here. I don't know what the story is with this. I wanted to try to get close enough to ask them, but I couldn't because there's just so many people. This is about as close as I could get, and I'm assuming she's a victim of some kind of hate crime or something. "There is no supremacy in blind hate." Another good sign. "Denial of racism is racism." Maybe. Denial of racism is definitely a problem because racism is a real thing. It is a real phenomenon, unfortunately. Another sign here says "Do right, white man." So I think they're targeting specifically the white supremacists. Yeah, "There is no supremacy in blind hate." There's a closer look at that sign we saw earlier. You can see the sunlight shining on things, makes it a little hard to read things. "I was afraid to be here, so here I am." All these people. The way this all worked out, it looks like this lady is holding the sign up and she's very, very tall, but no, she's further back standing up on something. "We're here to stay" is another sign. Another one is "We are all one," with the peace symbol and the letter O for one. Another just picture of the crowd. Not very many people wearing masks. Remember, the anonymous movement was around at this time and was making some waves in the news. Don't let racism divide us. More wonderful sentiments. Peace and love. I like they've decorated it with all these little hearts. Love trumps hate. It's very fitting, given that Trump is running to get elected at that time. We got this. They're part of a couple of other signs that we saw earlier. White silence condones violence. More people again. It's just incredible. It's good. A lot of people wearing hats so they don't get sunstroke and all that. Try to get past this. No nation without immigration is what one of the signs there says. And there's another anti-Nazi swastika symbol. Vancouver Unitarians are here, and they're promoting the anti-racism thing, which is good to see. So, and we're seeing a big yellow sign with a red heart on it. No room for Nazis on this planet. F off Nazis. So somebody's drawn some pictures here. Looks like they're angrily kicking them away. Again, I don't want to exclude. I want to try to help people get better. But I understand completely the wanting to distance oneself from the problem. And Nazism is definitely a problem. It's a terrible ideology. Imagine peace, love, peace. Speak loudly, and I don't see the rest of that sign, unfortunately.
Among us here today.
So who's speaking now is Mayor Gregor Robertson. He is the Gregor Robertson is the mayor of Vancouver at this time.
Who have not learned the message of peace and respect and understanding, of loving one another regardless of what we believe in or who we love, of what we look like or where we came from. Vancouver and our First Nations are the great living example of that. Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, all the nations on this coast and across Canada, which welcomes people from all over the world. We need to keep building on that understanding, that generosity. We need to welcome refugees and new immigrants to this place with open arms and opportunity. This city isn't so affordable. That's a problem. People want to come here from everywhere. It's such an incredible place and so many loving people, so much caring for each other. People want to be here, and it's hard to make space for everyone. We're running out of room here. We're having to build straight up. It's not easy, and many people are challenged or suffering. People among us are homeless or are not getting the care and support that they need. We need to learn. We need to get better at this. We need to support each other here in Vancouver and welcome more. Make sure that this is a home for all. That's why it's so important.
His message is correct.
That we are sending out this message to our whole city, across our country, around the world, to the people of Charlottesville, the victims and their families and friends in that community, to the people of Barcelona. Victims, families, friends. We will keep sending this message loud and clear from Vancouver for peace and love and respect. We'll do all of our part. We have to do it locally and we have to spread it globally. So reach out to those who are not there yet, who don't have that understanding. Reach out with a hand. Reach out with respect and love and understanding. Don't reach out with a fist. Don't lower ourselves to that.
I like that line, don't reach out with a fist. Yes, this is not martial arts practice.
Again, a big thank you to you all for being out here. Let's take care of our people here. Let's get stronger through this. This is how we build strength and our diversity. This is how we make our city and our world greater, by standing together for hope and peace and love, and standing up and speaking out against those words of hatred and racism. We cannot tolerate that in our midst. Let's build the love, build the understanding. Peace to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Robertson, and thank you, Councillors Jang and Myra, for being here in solidarity. I'm so happy to hear you say
Whoops, piece of video footage I forgot to remove. That was junk, but no worries. Somebody's brought a purple balloon. I think Jenna, who's in our audience, will appreciate seeing a purple heart-shaped balloon. Had to leave that in just for you. Thank you for your support, by the way. I really appreciate what you and Oz are doing. Again, another view of everybody here. Okay, so it says there's a sign here with a red heart on it. It's very creative, and it says F racism. There's an orange sign that I tried to read earlier, but we couldn't see the whole thing. It says radical peace, radical love, and they have the peace symbol there. There's another sign that reads boo racist dudes. Yeah, getting a bad review from the audience, definitely. You got a bad review from me as well. Negative review, I should say. Another one says self-defense is the only way. And then we'll go to the next one here. Oh, and there's a good view of the leather pride flag. And I'm just about to share a link in the live text chat on this. So, there's a link that I'm just sharing in the live text chat here for anybody who's interested. It's from Mr. Hovind, and it covers that flag that you're seeing in the picture right now. Okay, now what protest these days would be complete without somebody carrying a sign showing Doge, the famous internet meme in it. I love this. It's just funny. Someone here has a sense of humor. It's great to see this, though. Thank you, whoever you were who brought this in. Okay, so more, and it's a bit more packed now as more people are still arriving. Okay, so this sign we saw earlier but could only see half of it. It says F racism, F fascism, and it's a depiction, an encircled depiction of somebody throwing the swastika, the Nazi swastika, into the trash bin. Here's another one. It's Ferry and Marine Workers United, I think, or Union. A little hard to read that. Here's a big red sign that says, "My feminism will be intersectional, or it will be BS." Flavia Dodson? I'm not quite sure. It's a little hard to read the name there. Nazis are always, I guess, something bad. This isn't our country. We stole it. It's, oh yeah, Nazis are always bad. There we go. Bigots are not welcome here. Donald J. Trump is a narcissistic, psychotic dictator with delusions of grandeur. Yeah, I love how some of these signs are in different forms. You know, they covering different issues. Most of them are addressing the racism, though. It's black and white. Racism is wrong. Now that's clever. Afraid of your larger human family? Angry all the time? Maybe love is right for you. And look at the smile on this guy's face. Like, people are having fun promoting all this, all these important and really great messages. What's so hard about love? Excellent question. And nicely drawn, too. And this gentleman's sign is, "Grandson of immigrants welcomes all new Canadians." "We are all human beings" is another one. So maybe this lady is somebody's grandmother, and she's holding this sign that says "F off Nazis." What we're looking at here is the southeast corner of the grounds that the Vancouver City Hall is on, and we're actually facing eastward here. And the media a few days later posted some kind of falsified news article showing a purple smoke bomb here, and there's no purple smoke bomb. It did not happen. I don't know where they got the picture from, but the bushes didn't match, and I don't remember seeing the people who were in it at the time. I had a pretty clear memory at the time, so I thought they're making it up, and it was only 1 or 2 news places that covered it, and they didn't cover it for very long, so I think they kind of realized pretty quickly that it was nonsense. Yeah. Here we're facing City Hall again. Heather Heyer lost her life. We will carry your voice louder and stronger. Stop hate, stop prejudice, stop racism. I agree with those sentiments. Here's a beautifully painted sign. Accept existence or expect resistance. And there's a boat with a little pirate flag on it. It's just beautifully painted. I like these different artistic styles that are coming out. We thrive with diversity. Prejudice destroys. Yep. Great signage. People are posing holding the signs, because I got pictures of as many of the signs as I could. I can't read this one very easily. It mentions Mr. Rogers, but we will get another view of it later. And, oh, here it is. Now it's later. It says, racists, Mr. Rogers would be disappointed in you. Yes, he would be. There's police blocking traffic from getting in and causing any problems, I guess. And they have to have their car nearby in case something happens. Nothing serious happened. One guy got arrested because he was brandishing a knife, and that was about it. And you see these pink hats that people are wearing? This is just at the beginning, where there wasn't really very many of them out there. Later on, we saw a lot more people wearing them at later events, mostly in the US. It was a reference to protesting against Donald Trump, talking about grabbing women in grabbing cats, we'll say. So here's an old man carrying a sign that says, racist and fascist have no right to speak and organize. And here's a first aid sign. He's there to provide first aid if it's needed. So, I don't agree with this because I think freedom of expression is very important. So they actually do have a right to speak, but I think that organizing kind of fascist movements and things definitely needs to be stopped. So, and that's what's happening here. People are pushing back against an attempt to organize a public presentation on white supremacy. So these people are together, and they have the right idea overall, I think. Here's a musician with a crossed out Nazi swastika, meaning none of that. And look how happy people are, though. People are having a good time here. This is the east side of the building, by the way. Okay, here's a sign that we couldn't read earlier. It says, let love win the day. Be brave, and mighty forces will come to your aid. Here's another one that says, smash racism. I see somebody in the live text chat, Kyle Hutchinson, is asking, where's the live stream? This is the live stream, and it's a mixture. I'm playing a mixture of videos and photographs from August 2017, August 19th, 2017, in the city of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where thousands of people came to protest against white supremacists wanting to present their views here. This lady's carrying a sign that says, I love my Muslim pals, my people of color pals, my queer pals, and my left-handed pals. And this kid is holding a sign that says, love hates hate. This is great that people of all ages are involved in this. So what you're seeing is a statue of Captain George. If you're interested to know about Captain George, you can look him up on Google. Just look up Vancouver City Hall, Captain George, and that'll bring up all the information you need about him. The flags that you see to the right, the one that's closest to the right is the provincial flag of British Columbia, and then to its left is the flag for the municipality, the city of Vancouver. So we're at the north side of the building now, the back of the building, and we're currently facing west, in case anyone's curious about the orientation. There's people all around the building. Most of the crowd is on the south side, the west side, and the north side, more the northwest corner, and because that's where all the activity is. And the white supremacists are actually in this crowd, and I'm going to get a chance to speak with them in a moment. And I have video of that. Here's a sign that says, "Agree to disagree without violence." Yeah, non-violent protest is the way to go. And these are police to the right here. And there's fire rescue as well. The other two are police, Vancouver police. It's good that they're there. For big events, we always have emergency personnel on hand. So this lady's sign says, "Make racism wrong again," which is kind of taking it's a little bit of satire against the "Make America Great Again" campaign that was being run in the U.S. at this time. This gentleman's holding a sign that says, "All you need is love, except for racists. F those a-holes." Yeah, here's another sign with some artistic drawing on it. It says, "I hate Nazis." And you see that, I think, is a child with his mother. They look like Asian people, and they're here to be part of this. And just like everybody else is, you know, you will see more and more as we keep looking. I'm sure you've noticed the diversity here. So what I love about living here is that there is so much, it is multicultural, so we get to see and learn so much. Here's a very colorful sign. It has a gradient from yellow to magenta that says, "Love is a place where hate cannot survive," and a few hearts on it. A very, very nice sentiment. So I'm just going to go back so we can read this. It says, "Choose love. It's superior to hate." And it's hard to see. There's a little apostrophe there in "it's," so it is. They got it all correct. It's the curves on here, the swirls making out the shape of the heart, look just lovely. And this sign, which is backwards, says, "Same S, different century." So same crap, different century. No hate! No fear! No hate! No fear! People are chanting, "No hate, no fear." No hate! No fear! This is a sign about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, End Islamophobia, LGBTQ Lives Matter, White is not a culture, Good night, white pride. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. A color is not a culture. It's just a color. Oh, GeoSam is asking me if his comment is censored. I don't know. I see an earlier comment you're asking, do you know a quote called "Obsolete Man"? If that answers your question, I don't think you're being censored. But if there's, oh yeah, and you have another point right after that that says, "Any state, entity, or ideology that fails to recognize the worth, dignity, and rights of humanity, that state is obsolete. It has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace." Thank you for that, GeoSam. I hope that's the comment that you were thinking of. I don't think it's censored. Here's another sign that reads, "Try reading books instead of burning them." I really like this sentiment. It's really, really good. And somebody drew a picture of Smokey the Bear, the one who says that only you can prevent forest fires. The caption reads, "Only you can resist fascist liars." Yeah. It's good that Smokey the Bear is in on this. Here are two signs. One that says, "We are all immigrants," with a couple of hearts on them. And another one that says, "End bigotry now." The next sign reads, "Ever wonder what you would have done in the world during 1930s Germany, the US Civil Rights Movement, or Canada's interning of Japanese Canadians? Congratulations, you're doing it now." Yep, indeed, there are some unpleasant parts of Canadian history I wish didn't happen. And the same can probably be said of every country. There are often things in our history. There's nothing we can do about what's happened in the past, but going forward, and that's one of the reasons I think all these people are here, is because what we do now and in the future is so important. Because going forward, we still have options to correct things and change attitudes and improve living conditions for everybody. We can't change the past, but we can make the future better. So, white TITS, rainbow heart. You know, this is not the kind of message I would normally, that I would want to put out, but, you know, everybody's got a different style, and that's fine, and the rainbow heart one seems to be promoting diversity to me. A very simple sign. This one reads, "United against hate." Here's another one that's quoting Mahatma Gandhi. "Nonviolence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind, mightier than weapons devised by ingenuity of man." I'm not a big fan of Gandhi because there's some things about him that I don't care for, like sleeping with young girls to prove that he can resist temptation and stuff like that. It just didn't make sense. The easiest way to show that would have been for him to just not sleep naked with young girls. Anyway, here's a sign that reads, "Say no to racism, stand up for equality." And there's another one that says no to fear. I disagree with saying no to fear. Fear is actually an ally in my view. It helps us, like if we're walking close to the edge of a cliff, then we fear falling off. This is self-preservation. Fear is being our ally by saying, hey, you got to pay attention here. And then we back off. If we didn't have fear, I think a lot more of us could find ourselves walking into dangerous situations kind of recklessly. So fear helps us to avoid being reckless. Now, what I think their sentiment, what they're meaning by this sign is say no to fear-mongering, is probably what they really mean. And I agree with that. We got this, more signage. See, this is a lot of people around here. And there's people out in the streets too that couldn't quite find a way to get close here. I love this sign. It says, "Laundry is the only thing that should be separated by color." Indeed. And electrical wires too, I would add to that. You want to make sure you wire things up correctly. So this sign here is interesting. It says, "Vancouver City Hall plus Vancouver City Police condone Islamophobic hate speech on unsurrendered Musqueam, Squamish, and Sayal Wethuland ACAB." So there are people presenting, like I said, a number of different kind of ideas that and kind of other protests they've been in. They bring the signage to this protest and get some visibility, and I'm happy to showcase these things because I always encourage free expression. I want people to be able to present their ideas. Oh, somebody posted, Benghazi, with an exclamation point, posted in our audience, "My fear of needles is a detriment." Yeah, there are a lot of people who have fear of needles. It's quite common. And dentists have to deal with this quite a lot, in particular. And So it's just, it is out as you close your eyes and hope for the best is what a lot of people do. This lady is holding a sign that says, "I seriously can't believe we still have to process this SHIT." So, yeah, having to protest this nonsense, we shouldn't have to. We should be, in these modern times, a much more civilized society than what we're seeing. It's unfortunate that there are still significant numbers of people who think it's okay to be discriminatory and bigoted and belittling people based on characteristics that they can't control. It's just who we are, you know, in these kinds of circumstances. So, yeah, she's correct. This sign is right on. More pictures of the crowd. And right now I'm looking southward. This is the the west side of the building of Vancouver City Hall. To my right is Cambie Street, and to the south, directly in front of me, if we walk all the way, we'll find 12th Avenue. Oh, just one thing. I wanted to read this guy's sign, his shirt. It says, "Educated, but a refugee still." He's making a statement that fits with this protest very well. Because there is a misconception being construed by the bigots, particularly the racists. They have what's called xenophobia, which is similar to racism, and xenophobia is spelled Xenophobia, in case you're curious, and it's a fear of foreigners, people who come from abroad, people who come from other countries, or particularly from other continents, and so it's very similar to racism, and very often xenophobic people are also racist, but not always. And so what he's addressing there is the xenophobic aspects, which xenophobia is not uncommon among white supremacists. Another picture as the crowd moves on. Okay, so here's one of the religious signs that I mentioned earlier. Look at the way this guy on the left is dressed. He's got these amazing looking colors. It's just like, wow. He's part of some religious group. I didn't get a chance to speak with him. I did attempt to talk with him a few times, but there were many other people talking with him. And so anyway, this sign reads, the person standing next to him is holding up, it says, "Jesus said, love your gay, black, straight, Muslim, white, poor, immigrant, Jewish, cis, Christian, indigenous, trans neighbor." So it's a very inclusive message here. Here's another sign, same sign as I just read a little earlier, but a different, like same message, but a different sign with a bit more art on it. It says, "Laundry should be the only thing separated by color." And no more racism. There's other signs on here, hashtags for no hate, hashtag for anti-racism. Racism stops now. There's a little note in the corner. Picture of some rainbows on clouds. Very nice. So here's a really interesting thing about these protests that are peaceful is people will meet one another and they'll start enjoying sitting around and spending time talking with each other and having conversations. And there are many people who make friends at these protests. It's a way for people to socialize as well. And, you know, you've got people with common interests because they're joining a protest together. So they're going to have plenty to talk about. It's easy to make friends at these kinds of events. There's more of that. Because we have grassy areas. And this is why it's so important for governments to have grounds around the facilities, around their buildings, that people can sit down and catch shade under the trees. It was a hot day that day. And be able to enjoy it. It encourages people to converse and meet one another. I met quite a few people at this event. And some of us have stayed in touch since. So what we're looking at here is, this is 12th Avenue to the left, and then the other street in the distance is Cambie. So the police car is parallel with Cambie. We're looking at the intersection of 12th Avenue and Cambie Street. You can see the street signs here. The police are blocking off 12th Avenue, but keeping the traffic flowing on Cambie. So, more people with their family. It's kind of like a family event, these protests. Okay, we beat them in 45, we'll beat them again, is what this sign reads. I think 45, they're referring to 1945. Now, these people were going around giving free hugs, and we see these at some of these public events. We usually see these people like this at pride parades. So they happen to come to this event, which is a great thing to do because, again, it's a very friendly tone. This whole protest. More pictures. This is 12th Avenue. Again, we're on the south side of the City Hall, Vancouver City Hall here. And I'm looking northeast is the direction we're looking here. Now we're looking north, and there's the south side of Vancouver City Hall. It's hard to read this sign, I'm sorry. There's another nice picture of City Hall. These are all pictures I've taken, by the way. That's all my camera. So it looks very nice with the Canadian flag. There's just a beautiful day. Not very many clouds in the sky. So here's another sign that says fascists and racists, or racists and fascists have no right to speak and organize. Again, I did mention some objections I have to that earlier. To the right, there's another one that says no more Islamophobia, no to Islamophobia, no to war and occupation. The objection I have to the term Islamophobia is that the meaning is not quite where it's supposed to be. Like, the word intuitively means an irrational fear of Islam, because a phobia is an irrational fear. People are using it in a different way to say it includes racism and other kinds of bigotry and hatred. And so I'm against those things. I think the term Islamophobia is a bit misleading that way. But the sentiment, I know, it's the latter usage that they're using there. Silly humans. Now this person, it's a little hard to see it, but they're dressed up, she's dressed up like a space alien. And the mask is a little bit space alien-like. Okay, so earlier we read this, this guy has this beautifully colored cover on his shirt. I don't have the name at the tip. It's at the tip of my tongue, but I'm having trouble recalling what the name of that is. But there's a few other people with similar attire. And so we saw this Jesus said, love your neighbors earlier. Now there's the other sign says, God loves all her children. And the other words intermixed with the purple wording is black, immigrant, poor, native, trans, Christian, cis, gay, Muslim, straight, Jewish, white. So it's another one of these very inclusive messages. I really appreciate people coming out and putting these kinds of messages forward. Mosquitoes for human rights. Yummy. This was a funny part of the protest here. These people have a sense of humor. Now they're showing two bags of blood, and that's what these bags represent. And the caption on the sign says, pick the white one. Yeah, you can't tell. We're all look the same when the surgeon cuts you open, apparently. Here's another sign that says, skin to skin, love one another, hand in hand, the earth is our mother. Here's another one. I can't believe I have to protest this this nonsense, this crap. Another one says, make Nazis afraid again. More people. There's one yellow sign there that just says no bigotry. I might say no to bigotry. Oh wait, it's this guy on the right side of history. There's a little sign in the bottom right corner there. And more people. It's just a sea of people. This crowd is a little more sparse. It was easier to move around in, but still you can't move quickly in this crowd. There's just too many people. So here's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. It says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." I agree. This construction worker guy here has a butterfly attached to his helmet at the back. That's not painted on the wall, that's actually on his helmet. A very polite sign says, "Careful now. Down with this sort of thing." Oh, thank you to Titan Uranus. He's written, that's a tallit, Tallit, the rainbow tallit covering. Thank you very much for finding the word for me. I appreciate it. Alright, here's a sign. They're quoting the Dalai Lama. It says, "Where ignorance is our master, there is no possibility of real peace." I'm mostly in agreement with that. It says, "The goal is not to be better than the other man, but your previous self." I think that's a noble goal to strive for. "The true hero is one who conquers his own anger and hatred." Another quote from the Dalai Lama. I see Jenna is back. Thank you for coming back into our audience, Jenna. I don't know if you saw the picture of the purple balloon earlier that's shaped like a heart. I did mention you. Here's another sign, green text on a white sign that says, "There are no lessons to be learned from your violence. You are erasure with no promise." Again, it's just no end of hostility toward the attitude of racism. "No home for Nazis" is one sign here. Another one says, "Love always wins." I prefer that second sign more. I think Nazis need rehabilitation. They need to improve and change their views. That's what I think. So we need to convince them. Kicking them out and putting them away and out of view doesn't solve the problem. It just buries it, which is not the same. It's hard to read this sign because of the angle. So here's another workers' union sign, a flag, a banner. It says, "Industrial Workers of the World, Vancouver, WIW." Really appreciate all these unions throwing support into this and showing up. It's very important that we bring so many people here. One of my favorite signs at this event, it reads, "Equality for all people." And there's a couple of purple hearts. There you are, Jenna, some more. Oh, good. Thank you, Jenna. You did see the balloon, so lots of purple hearts here for you. I know Jenna likes the purple hearts. So now here's a large version, a close-up picture of that sign we saw earlier that I really enjoy this message. "I was afraid to be here, so here I am." Another one, "Leave my siblings alone." Indeed. So this one is, I'm going to read a little bit here. It's quite a bit to read, but I think it's important. Like, somebody put a lot of effort into this, so I'm going to take the time to read it out. "Our calls to action." There's 3 points. 1 is political and community leaders. 2 is business and the public. And 3 is universities and places of learning. So the first point, 1, political and community leaders. Calling for our representatives at every level to clearly and publicly denounce white supremacy groups and to put pressure on American leaders to do the same. 2, businesses and the public. Encouraging the public and businesses to hold people accountable if they encounter situations of white supremacy. And then in brackets, there's a note, firing white supremacist employees, dismissing board members, etc. 3, universities and places of learning. Encouraging other universities to demonstrate their solidarity with Virginia, I'm assuming in the USA, and to take action to condemn white supremacy. And at the bottom there's on campus. And at the bottom there's a little clouded note that says, "Now, create your own calls to action." The next sign right next to it shows UBC students stand in solidarity with U-VA and Charlottesville. I'm assuming that UVA is the University of Virginia, and I know that UBC is the University of British Columbia, which is here in Canada. It's actually to the west of us, right at the water. Stand up to racism and fascism is what this sign reads. So here's another sign that says, "Hey Whitey," and I'm sure they're intending to address the white supremacists here. It says, "Hey Whitey, you're not an endangered species. Watch out though. Your hate is a poison you choose to swallow every day. Good luck with that." And then there's, yes, you know, they are, when people adopt these poisonous ideas, it taints their perspective of the world, and they're seeing things in a way that's not really very helpful. And it's, even to themselves, it does damage to their own way of seeing things. Here's another one, says, oh, right, something now. Wife power. Making fun of the white power chant. It says wife power. Say it now. Wife power. Okay. No Nazis on native land is another sign. I hope you enjoy me reading out these signage. I want it to also be for people who can't see. They can hear and listen to everything, because I think there are blind people who use the internet. Not everybody realizes that, because the tools that they have make it a lot easier than it was initially when the internet was new. So we are looking to the east. So Cambie Street is behind us. We are on 12th Avenue. To the left of us is the north, and that's the south side of Vancouver City Hall, but it's not in view because we're looking east. And the street on the east side of City Hall is Yukon Street. Yeah, we have a province or territory called Yukon, but we also have a number of streets here in Vancouver that are named after various provinces and territories. We've seen this sign already. And here's a beautiful painting of a heart. Unfortunately, I don't have one that's a picture that's centered of it, but you can see from both pieces, and you can picture it together. So we're actually, just so you know, I've turned around and we're looking west at Cambie Street here on 12th Avenue still. That's why people are suddenly looking to the right now. At City Hall, which is on our right. So here's some more signage. Racism in the air. Don't breathe. Yeah, don't breathe it in. You don't want to be influenced by racism. And then here's another sign that shows a person tossing the Nazi swastika into the trash bin, which is good. And the sign on the right, at first I thought these were elephants, but they actually look more like human hearts. Probably anatomically correct ones, I'm not sure. And the wording says, the first word is covered by the person's hand, but the rest says charm to tenderness. So it's encouraging tenderness. These are all good messages in my view. And these people are posing, because I've asked them if I can get a picture of their signs, and people are just really happy to do that, to get it in there. And some of them are saying they hope it'll show up on the internet someday. So here it is. Signs are showing on the internet now. This one's hilarious. Tiki torches against racism. And the sign is held up by 2 tiki torches. Now, I think these are clouds in the background. I don't think the tiki torches are actually operating. Here's another one that says Nazis eat unicorns, and then there's other signage here as well. They Alt-R, we Control-Alt-Delete. So Control-Alt-Delete is a function of computers that causes them to clear out the memory and restart. The next sign shows racists embarrass the human race. Oh yeah, and that'll be even more true one day when space aliens hopefully come to visit us, and that message will have some meaning. Hopefully we'll be done with racism by then, and we'll be beyond that and a much better society by the time that happens. There are some people who've said that the reason space aliens don't visit us is because we've got a lot of growing up to do as a species, and we're too violent and too dangerous to bring into United Federation of Planets or whatever. Another another sign showing in this picture is, even white people are sick of other white people's racist BS. Oh yeah, I don't like it either. So I agree with the sentiments on these signs. And there's another view of the same signs here. You've got trees in the middle of the streets here, well, off to the side of the road, but yeah, I love this environment. So another beautiful sign, yes to diversity. And then the little pink sign next to it is live with love. We will be getting some more video footage in a moment here. And then soon, very soon, you'll get to hear me ask a question of of Bendan, who's the main white supremacist representative. So here's one sign. Oh yeah, we read these signs earlier. Okay. There's people with their bicycles. Okay, so here's one that says faggots against fascism. That's clever. This lady she's dressed up as a banana, and she's holding a sign that says racism is bananas. Look at the smile on her face, and she's got a little heart with the Nazi symbol crossed out again. Like, a lot of people have these Nazi symbols with a cross through them to say no Nazism. So, but I just love the smile on her face, how she's kind of peering around the sign here. It's great. People are having fun at this event. Some more signage, and look at this sea of people. There's just tons and tons of people here. Love is the answer, is what one of the signs here says. You know, this is a view of westward again. We're looking at Cambie Street. We're on the south side of the City Hall. We need to get to the north side where Bendan is, and we're going to be heading over there very soon now. Street signs. A world without race. I can't quite read that sign. It's hard to say. It's too far away. Yeah, I think people are starting to move over there. You see, that's not from the Tiki Torch. That's the cloud in the sky I mentioned earlier. Stand up to racism and fascism is what this sign reads. There's one here I can't quite catch. So this lady's sign is a good one. It says, "Stop pretending your racism is patriotism." Yeah, that's an important thing. People need to kind of move on from that, because patriotism is not about division, although unfortunately it divides at national borders, the world. But it does try to unite people within the country. Here's a brightly colored sign that says, "Racists, you are screaming at the sun. The power of love has already won." FUG off, neo-Nazis, and there's a crossed out Nazi swastika on this sign as well. Some children holding up signs here, Nazi something something. I think we get another picture of this sign later on that's better. It's hard to read this sign. So if you're ever making signs, even for like a yard sale or for something else, or an event like this, you want to make sure that you look at the sign from a distance and see that the lettering is clear. Use clear lettering, keep the message short, and then people can see it. Your art on there is great, but make sure it's bold letters that are clear and not too close together. So, because this guy, I wish I could see the message from here and read it out. There are way more of us. See? And the arrows are pointing. This sign is intended to be right inside, held up in a sea of people. And it's a message to the presenters, obviously. Help yourselves by helping each other. A lovely message with a rainbow-colored heart. Immigrants, we get the job done. I support diversity. I do too. I agree with this sign so much. She's happy to hold it up. You can see the smile on her face. There's quite a few signs here. Now, we read these other ones here that say that racists and fascists have no right to speak and organize. Here's another one that says Filipinos against fascism. Another one says, unite against the alt-right. I can't quite make out what that says. It says McGranite, I'm not sure. And then there's a line and a circle crossing out the word fascism. And it has dash ILPS at the bottom right corner. And then there's a lovely sign here in the bottom right that says Care Bear Stare, and there's clouds and hearts that are smiling back at you. That's lovely. Some lady's holding a sign that says we are all cousins. She didn't want her face on the camera, I think. There were one or two people like that, and so they turned their back and held the sign. It's fine, you know. This one's beautifully colored. I wish I had a better shot of it. It says Multicultural Canada with a few hearts around on it. Here's a great sign. It says, how did you get this wrong? True or false? Racism is bad. Option A, true. Option B, true. There's no false option. This is clever. And more people just hanging about. A few people have brought foldable chairs so they can sit more comfortably. And I think I even saw one person stand up and let somebody sit down, an elderly person sit and use their chair for a while. Very nice people here. I feel very safe in this crowd on this day. So we're looking at City Hall. This is from Yukon Street and 12th Avenue. We're at the southeast corner looking northwest at City Hall. Vancouver City Hall. So now we're looking west, and to our left is 12th Avenue. Cambie Street is what we'll be crossing if we walked forward, but I'm going to be heading the other way. So more people. This is okay. I think I read this sign earlier, but it was a different color. It was pink. So this one says the same thing. Heather Heyer, Heyer, lost her life. We will carry her voice louder and stronger. Stop hate, stop prejudice, and stop racism. Look at all the people here. This is just such a great event. And if there was another one, I'd go again. And I'd encourage more people to go. Recognize this guy? He's got this little anti-Nazi thing on his back. So. Alt-right? More like alt-wrong, this sign says. Here's a beautiful sign that says love, and it's all colored with rainbows. It's a thick word, so it's love trumps hate. And the next sign shows diversity yes, racism no, with a heart drawn on it. There's another sign behind the love trumps hate sign that says hate no, but I can't make it out because most of the sign is blocked. More of the crowd. We're looking southward and a little bit, we're looking north and a little bit west toward City Hall here. And you can see there's a lot of people here. But again, Brandon is at the south side. We're on the north side. We're on the south side. So, and somebody holding a sign that has the Nazi symbol crossed out again. Looks like part of the swastika broke off. All right. Okay, so here we have more of the crowd. There's hate has no, I guess, place in Canada. I'm not sure. Love trumps hate. Now we've got a close-up view of this sign. Just beautifully drawn. So this sign here reads hate. It has caused a lot of problems in this world, but it has not solved any yet. It has not solved one yet. Yeah, hate causes problems. It doesn't solve problems. I totally agree with that. No hate, no fear. And there's another one. Why don't we give love one more chance? Yeah. Freedom is our right. It's a sign on the left. More people. Tiki torches against racism. Just fits right in there so well. That's a certain ambience. Stop pretending your racism is patriotism. Oh yeah, the variation on the sign, the same message. Okay, let's see. Okay, we read this one already. Here's another one, says love, please, or please love. It's the heart, I think, represents the word love. This sign here, this lady's proud to hold it up. Love is the answer. You can see how happy she is. Yeah, that's you're carrying a nice message. And you can see other people seem happy or calm, and yeah. F, racism. It's a good message, I think. I have no use for it. Non-binary badass. Okay, Canadian mosaic. Yeah, this is a reflection of the diversity of our multicultural country here. Peace begins with a smile. I love that. That's a beautiful message. Here's a sign that reads, "What's the fuss? We are all immigrants on Indigenous land." And that's an issue that's been coming up in the news a fair bit at that time. Equality. Great message here. Notice the different colors and the peace symbol in the heart. Hate solves nothing. I agree. It's a great sign. This guy was happy to hold it up. He wanted me to have the buildings in the background, so I did that. Nazis F off with a couple of hearts. It almost seems contradictory. So, let's see. I'm trying to move around here through this crowd, but it's slow moving. There were a few people on wheelchairs here too. There's so many people here. Coexist. This is the guy with the who's carrying the sign that has a picture of Doge, the meme dog from the internet, on it. More people, more diversity. The residence next to a building. It's an interesting how our cities grow. People bring their dogs and their children and have a good time. So the reason this street looks more empty now is because people have moved toward the north side of the building. We're on the south side here, and there's because that's where Bendan is, and people want to give him a piece of their mind. And boy, do they do that ever. Here's another well-drawn sign of a Nazi swastika being crossed out. On the right side of history, equality. Oh, I agree. Nationalism is deadly. Stop the hate. Hashtag BLM for Black Lives Matter. Hashtag love, not hate. And there's 4 peace symbols, one in each corner and a couple of hearts. Here's a very beautiful peace symbol drawn on a rainbow. The sign is the rainbow.
United, never be defeated.
That's a convenient way to fucking delete the discussion. We're not talking about you guys can present, that's what it's about, right? But we're talking about
keep Canada great.
And the resistance to it.
Love, not hate.
Right?
So we're at the north side of the building here. Recognize the flags and the statue.
They'll come for me, and I intend to stand up. I intend to stand up.
Put a wall of protection against you. The big bubble just touch.
Okay, equality is for everyone. And another sign says Black Lives Matter. I'm so glad they're here. This is an important event for that, important protest for BLM members to attend to. Especially at this time, 2017. Never again is now, is what one of the signs says. Keep Canada great. So what's happening is Donald Trump is promoting his campaigning to get elected in the U.S. and in the USA, and his campaign slogan is "Make America Great Again." The problem I have with that slogan is that the first problem that stands out to me with it is that it implies that America was not great. And it used to be, and it got worse. It got really bad. and then he wants to make it better. But his view on making it better actually only makes it even worse, it seems. So here, I like this message. It says, keep Canada great. And I think if his message had been, keep America great, rather than make America great again, that would have been a more positive thing. It would have left out the negative part. So I really like the positive message that comes from this one. Now, there's somebody holding a wonderful sign here. It says, my grandpa taught me how to fight oppression. It looks like her grandpa served in the military, judging by the fact that he's wearing what looks like a military uniform. So it's a great event to put up such a message. This lady says, I'd call the alt-right and the slang term for female genitalia, but they lack depth and warmth. Yeah. Not the kind of message I want to promote if I'm in these kind of protests, and I was in this protest, but if I was holding a sign, it would have a different message, a more inclusive sign that have a more positive view on it. Here it says, smash white supremacy. Yeah. People are against it. Here we go. So you're going to hear the crowd now singing "Oh Canada." So this is great for Canada Day. And the thing is, this is not an organized protest. It's just a lot of people heard about it on the radio and they're here to protest. So here we go.
Would you like to tell me what your website address is?
Oh yeah, sure, brother. It's the best way to get a hold of me is Motorcycles Vancouver on YouTube. That's our Random Act of Kindness channel, so I'm most proud of that one.
Do you have a website address as well?
Yeah, AlexHillmanProductions.com.
Fantastic.
And if anybody's doing any charitable work or nonprofits, we do pro bono work for you guys all the time. We do drone production work, video production work. We have some film production camera cars we can use as well. Get our hands on free of charge, some red cameras. So if you guys need a hand with anything, just shoot me a message on AlexHillmanProductions.com. Happy to help out.
Thank you very much for being here.
Of course.
This guy is working so hard to go around and talk to people at this event, and you can see he's taking it very seriously. So I wanted to really give him a chance to talk about who he is, and I'm glad I ran into him again and I was able to do that. It's great. He's helping organizations, nonprofits, and whatnot, and social groups, pro bono as well. So I hope he's doing well with with the work he's doing. This lady holds two signs. The first one reads, "I hope someday you'll join us," and the second sign, "and the world will live as one." So this is from John Lennon's song, a famous song, and it was what's the name of that? Why am I drawing a blank on this? But he was the lyrics of his song had a wonderful impact on the world. So it's great that people are taking that message and relaying it at an event like this. I really like that there's aliens. So now we've got Doge and we've got aliens and we've got tiki torches at this event. So the alien is tossing the Nazi swastika in the trash bin. And I see people in the audience like Scott Duke are saying these signs are pretty and have great messages. Yeah, there's been some fantastic signage here. Here's another sign that has the Star of David on it, and in the bottom right corner it says "bi" and "proud." Obviously that means it's a reference to bisexuality. It says "all people welcomed, loved, respected." Excellent message. Here's another couple of signs. So the one on the right I didn't get a chance to read earlier because we couldn't see it very well. And some of the text on it we just can't read. It's or it's text on the other side. I'm not sure, but it looks like it might be for this side. But I'll start with that one. It says, "Love does not equal silence, inaction, complicity, and impunity. It is not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist." And that is a quote attributed to Angela Davis. And then the other one, the other sign, has big letters. It's very easy to read. It says, "Real Canadians love diversity. Haters don't belong." This sign says, "Support YPG/YPJ, freedom fighters. Down with fascism." So I'm not familiar with YPG and YPJ, but I'm assuming it's some identifiable group of some sort. I agree with the sign, though. Down with fascism. "White supremacy is terrorism." That's quite a statement, and it can be terroristic to people who don't fit in the view of the white supremacists. It certainly is not something that comes about. It's certainly something that doesn't agree with the veil of ignorance from John Rawls. Under John Rawls' veil of ignorance, there would not be white supremacy in our legal system or in any legal system, and that's why it needs to go. Yes. So this is, it is terroristic if you're, especially if the white supremacists have power, as we saw in Nazi Germany, then it is terroristic to society. Here's some more video footage of, we're getting closer to Brandon. It took me quite a bit of work to get close to Brandon, close enough to ask him the question I wanted to ask. I'm glad I did. I wanted to ask him a few questions. I only got to ask one. But I asked the most important one. Human dignity is inherent to every human being. I agree. So this is CTV interviewing people, and they're going around with their camera and they're looking all professional. It's good that they're covering this event. And you can see the Vancouver police further back there. If you look back here, this is where Brandon is around here, and this is where I'm trying to get to. And I will get there. There's this lady with the "Nazis eat unicorns" sign again. This guy here is an artist selling his art, and this is one example of his art that I thought this is one of the prettiest pictures that he has. So he was, I think he ran out of cards at some point. He was handing them out to people, and I hope he sold a bunch of art. This is great, you know, free expression. Okay, sorry, that was a short piece of video footage I forgot to, I didn't take out. Move outside the triangle of fear thinking. Rumi, Sufi poet. Here's another sign that reads, "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings." Now under freedom, the letter O is replaced with the Transformers symbol. That's the Transformers from the 1980s cartoon. I think of Optimus Prime when I see that symbol. And he stood for what was good, and he was definitely against racism. I remember there was an episode about that. So the sign that was just behind that lady, you see it says empathy a little bit, so now we can see it in its full because I moved around and tried to get pictures. It says empathy is a strength, not a weakness. There's a few hearts there of different colors, and it's just beautifully colored. The font is lovely. This sign is an important one. It says Canadian values: compassion, respect, inclusivity, generosity, kindness, love. I agree with that. Chill out, this sign says, and it has a Nazi swastika crossed off as no swastika. Here's a blue sign. It says, if hate can be learned, love can be taught. Yes, that's definitely true. Here's another sign that says, we must love one another or die. A little harsh. We've seen this sign before. So I'm much closer. This, you can see his head here. There's a police officer here. There's a Black Lives Matter sign just above him. And then I believe that's Bendan right there. It's a little hard to see him. He's wearing sunglasses. He's a red-haired, white-skinned fellow. And there's another police officer here. There's a police officer over there who's a Sikh. It's he's with multicultural police officers who are, only some of them are white, like him, and yet they're all protecting him. It's interesting. So this sign says equality is self-evident. Here we go. Where's that? Right here. Equality is self-evident. I would say so. Some people ignore what is clear, or what should be clear.
Immediately go change their name.
We gotta get like a last initial, so we're not offending any like, you know, we don't have a spillover. There's a lot of Brendan. The innocent Brendan.
Hashtag not all Brendan suck.
Not all Brendan.
So you hear that people aren't yelling angrily. It's quite calm, and to me this has been a really good protest. There are going to be angry moments very soon, though. You're going to hear them. It'll be in the next video. I think it's the next video. This is effed up. This is messed up. Yeah. This is some crude messages, but we have freedom of expression here in Canada, so people are free to do this and not get in any trouble. I think that's a good thing.
So I'm gonna go with like.
So here's a picture. There's Bendan. He's the spokesperson for the white supremacists. And this guy is, you can see he doesn't look happy while he's talking. This guy back here is smiling. He's probably enjoying hearing the interaction. And you can see there's quite a few police here. And this is a tight crowd. Like, moving around in here is almost impossible. More people talking to Bendan here, and there are some people in this crowd who are there. I think they're on his side. It's a little unclear, so some of the crowd end up arguing with each other as well. But mostly the hostility is focused on Bendan here, because he is here to present white supremacy. The police did an excellent job. They're impartial. They're making sure that things are going peaceful and well here. You know, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Keep Canada something. Let's say keep Canada.
Go back to 410, Brendan.
Isn't it great? See everybody holding up their signs, and there's people also yelling at them. Like, what an experience it must be. Imagine if you're presenting an unpopular view, no matter what it is, and this whole crowd of protesters is up like this. How would that feel? It'd be probably quite an interesting experience that you'd never forget, unless this is something you did regularly. But it's very interesting, because these people don't like you. But you're doing this in Canada. You're quite safe here. Okay, so this is the video where eventually I will get to talk to Bendan, but it's going to be about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 or 6 minutes before we get to that point. So here we go. And I got real close to him here. So this is Bendan, people. This is what he looks like. I just went back a few seconds. So here you can see him. He's wearing his sunglasses. It is a bright, hot day, and and there's, look at all these people around him. Everybody's so close, and the police are not far away. They're making sure that things don't get out of hand. So they're doing things right. So I succeeded in getting close. There was an opening and I took it. Like, I was so surprised I managed to get this close as quickly as I did. Look at the back of his shirt. It says Infowars.com. That's Alex Jones. What does this tell you about where his mind is at?
Take care of yourself, okay?
So he seems to be enjoying himself, and you know, there's some people who are saying some very silly things, so I think it's more likely he's just laughing at that.
I'm not watching that. Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
So Bendan's sign, the first part of it reads, Antifa are anti-freedom of association.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Fuck you, Bendan! You're not changing! You lied to us, Bendan!
So, this is hilarious. Somebody's holding up a bottle that reads Nazi tears, and it says the same thing on the other side of the bottle, which is what Bendan is seeing. So he's laughing about this because this is so silly. It's funny. I think it's great that they brought this here. There's a sign in the background that says, that's held up quite high. It says, it isn't too late to leave a life of hate. A great message.
Nazi tears.
See, look at this. Here's Bendan promoting white supremacy, and the two police officers supporting him. One's obviously Sikh, and the other guy, neither of them are white, like he is. They're here to protect him. I just love the irony of all this.
Should we be able to have an open and honest
Nazi tears are back. That's so funny.
From an anthem.
I just love how people were singing the Canadian national anthem. It made it very hard for these people to converse. This gentleman here is trying to ask questions of Bendan, and they're having trouble hearing each other because there's so much noise. I'm not sure if the chant "We love Bendan" is an attempt at sarcasm or if those are his supporters. I don't know. So here's the sign I tried to read earlier. It says, "Keep Canada tidy. Throw the racists out." So throw racism in the trash, I think, is good. Here's another one that says, "I will not be silent in the face of hate." A great message.
You did not die for a brain then? So why do you think it's easy to get into the country? It's easy for immigrants to get here?
She's asking him if he thinks it's easy for immigrants to get into Canada.
Do you know how much people give up in order for them to come to this country? Do you think it's easy?
Well, if you're an illegal immigrant, then yes. It's easy to cross the border. I'm talking about America.
Do you think it's easy for a Syrian father to put his child in a boat and have that child die on the way over here? Do you think that's fucking easy?
I know people who came here that way, and some lost family members on the way. They took a boat across the ocean. It was a horrible journey, and they remember other people on the boat not making it as well. Some died in the middle of the ocean.
Is that easy? People die trying to come to this country.
How many Syrian refugees take boats to come to Canada?
My dude, come on.
What are you documented? Excuse me, guys. Undocumented. Do you understand the meaning of undocumented?
The people I know were from other parts of Asia, but I think his question is kind of off topic here. It's better to stay focused.
No, but like I'm just saying, how many boats? It happens in Europe all the time. They take.
It doesn't matter how many. The point is that people have come here and died, or some of their family members have died coming here.
And that's very documented, even though, but when does that ever happen in Canada?
It doesn't matter that I'm also English, Irish,
The point is it's undocumented. He's saying it's easy to cross the border. Okay, so how easy to cross the border? You're trying to say that I don't have the facts, does he have the facts?
Good for her, keeping him on focus. She did it well.
No, but I'm just asking.
I feel like this is really one-sided.
Just because the Syrian
I feel like this guy's on the wrong team.
happened to lose his son in the
God, we have
She just declared that this guy's on the wrong team. Good. She's pushing back against him. This is a great interaction.
it's not criminal here.
The death doesn't count because it wasn't in a boat on the way here and he's here now? Is that what you're saying?
What am I saying? What?
So just because the Syrian father who lost his son in a boat while trying to escape war and persecution,
I did vote for Trudeau.
just because his son didn't die in a boat on his way here directly, it doesn't count? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
I don't
Because
get it.
it still counts.
Go home, racist. All right.
That guy with the sunglasses just yelled, "Go home, racist."
Everybody, stop! I'd like to ask a question, please.
Hey, a call to order. Where there's a lot of disorder.
Calmly and quietly, sir. Can I ask why you're here today? Just genuinely curious.
Cover the event.
So, why are you surrounded by all these people?
I don't know. Because I'm asking this guy and he's the center of attention.
What are you covering this event for? I don't know. That's not a very good answer. People are not going to be happy with that.
Well, I'm here too for that.
So basically, what you're saying is you came to talk to a man wearing a Trump shirt, and everyone here assumed you guys are Nazis.
Yeah, the back of his shirt is Infowars.com. The front is promoting Donald Trump for president.
And freaked out.
Sounds about right.
But he turned and attacked all the women around him.
I can't.
So again, Brandon
He just he decided to start asking questions about all the women who were fighting him,
thought
rather than talk to this guy.
He did?
That's what he's doing. Do you have a real news channel?
No, it's a YouTube channel.
Don't interview Nazis!
Go home!
Protesters, and so...
Fuck your opinion!
No, he's entitled to his opinion. He's wrong, but he's entitled to it.
Bingo. He's entitled to his opinion. He's wrong, but he's entitled to his opinion, just like this guy is. But I agree with this guy.
That's right.
That's Brendan's friend.
Anyways, yeah, I've been talking to these people for over an hour, and we've had some good conversations. That's right. It's pretty hard to get through to them. They've been indoctrinated pretty heavily by liberal media and liberal education.
Go home!
I have a question. I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
Education, kindness, and compassion.
How many people watching this at home are in their basements hiding?
Yeah.
I'd like to know what your thoughts are on Section 15 of our charter, which forbids...
This is me asking. I finally got to ask. I'm face to face with him. The yellow color you see there, that's me wearing a bright yellow colored jacket. So
it's discrimination.
Do you know that? Because we don't have what you're...
No, it's in our charter, section 15. You can't discriminate based on age, sex, race, or religion.
The officer is familiar with this. I think by his reaction he knows I'm relaying this correctly, and this is an area that I study.
I'm against all hate speech laws. I think all speech should be free because hate speech can be loosely... Yes.
Well, we're covered by that with Section 2 of our charter, but I'm wondering what you think about Section 15, which explicitly forbids discriminating based on race, on religion, on different things like that.
There's the Nazi tears again. This is a great protest.
Well, I think that's a slippery slope. I think that could just be defined loosely by whoever is in charge of the government. They could say anything is racist, anything is anti-Islamophobic, and
no, it's
so
pretty straightforward what those things are.
No,
that's actually in our Constitution.
It doesn't
ideology
change
is not racist.
How did you migrate here?
I was born here.
Where were your parents from? Everyone here is an immigrant. How'd you...
Well, somebody just made a sign right there. Says they just drew it right now. F. Brendan. That's his name, Brendan, apparently. I don't know his last name. I tried to find out because I would like to know more about his movement and what he's doing. So.
I was born here.
Where were your parents from? Everyone here is an immigrant. How'd your family come here? Well, there are some natives. All white people here.
What does that have to do with this?
Because you're a fucking immigrant!
Yes.
I'm an immigrant! You're an immigrant! He's an immigrant! That guy's an immigrant! That guy's an immigrant! Yeah. We're all immigrants! She's an immigrant!
No, I was born here.
You're still an immigrant.
Oh, I am?
How
I was
did
born
your family
here.
get to Canada?
I was conceived and born here.
Did they have to go on a fucking boat? Did any of them get hurt?
So someone's now challenging me a little bit and saying that I'm an immigrant, and I responded that I was born here. They're talking about my ancestors, but the topic isn't me. This is about Brendan. So somebody in the audience is just looking for people to fight with, and I'm just trying to shut them down and move along here.
I'm sure they gave up a lot.
I think we need to figure out the definition of immigrant now.
There's a strict vetting process.
All white people here are being called.
This country didn't
I
have
would love to hear what's some of your neighbors recently then. When my family came over, there wasn't
Oh yeah, no, I know where I came from.
It was just about
I know where my parents came from. Yeah.
and take the land. Because that's kind of how it works for white colonists. You just have to get here, and it's fine.
No, because your parents were coming from a country that was allied, from a colony that are allied and have a lot of history together.
Allied with what? A country that didn't exist at the time?
They know who you are and what your family are. And
how do they know that?
And they know that if you're educated and you have money, you speak the language, you are a benefit to the
You don't speak the language of the native people.
That's just wrong, Brendan. That's factually wrong.
It's factually wrong.
Yeah, so this woman is just pointing out that he doesn't speak the language of the native people, is what she said. And the thing is, what languages you speak or don't speak is incidental from your race. Your race is more genetic. The language would be more of a cultural thing and representative of your level of education. So there is some conflation going on here. So clarity is needed.
Wrong, Brendan. That's factually wrong.
It's factually wrong. Okay.
Do you speak the language of the native people that lived here before your parents were here? Before your family and your ancestors?
It wasn't English.
Many native...
What languages do you speak?
English and Pakistan.
Why aren't you in England?
Because England's been taken over by Muslims.
So what?
So you just hate England?
Penis. That's another preposterous argument, but...
Now, the way they're holding the Nazi tears bottle, it's just like how all these other people are holding the microphones. It's funny.
That's not what we're here for.
Taking over? I missed the newscast on that.
Yeah, there was a gentleman,
I watched the BBC.
Nazi, goose-stepping up Yukon Street about 2 hours ago. And he was throwing up a Heil Hitler salute and he had a little Nazi pin on. And I want to ask you, genuinely, do you see why people could feel like that's a little intimidating and a little bit bad to allow in a country that has a lot of people who have been victimized by the literal Nazis, the guys who wear the badges. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the guys.
You want to know another group
Good question.
who victimized Jews?
I want you to answer my question.
Islam.
I want you to answer my question. I asked you a super straightforward question. I want the viewers who are watching the live stream to.
So Brandon's trying to commit what's called whataboutism. Well, what about this other party? Instead of answering the question. And this questioner's really sharp. He's saying, no, you gotta stay on topic. You gotta stay focused. Answer my question.
No, I'm not a Nazi.
No. I asked you a very straightforward question about a Nazi who was on Yukon Street. And I'm asking you if you can understand why people who are Jewish, who are brown-skinned or black-skinned, could understandably not want that guy to be allowed to walk up and down Yukon Street, goose-stepping, Heil-Hitlering, and wearing a swastika pin. That's my question, and you didn't answer that question. You deflected that question.
No, I didn't.
You did deflect the question. You did not answer my question.
They should be against that individual. I'm not that individual. People, not all Trump supporters are that individual.
Right. I didn't even say that. I explicitly said at the beginning of my question, I'm not talking
Okay,
about
I have a question then. If you should treat people as individuals, then why are all Muslims bad?
Because you should treat all people as individuals, but you should judge them by their ideology.
What's your ideology?
My ideology is...
I think that's why we're all here. They're judging you for your
I'm an
ideology.
individualist. I'm not...
Sorry, which?
Individualist. I'm a capitalist. That is basically my religion, is capitalism. And...
How's that working out for you?
I'm a little bit concerned that that capitalism is being attacked and destroyed.
Somebody's holding up a sign here that I think they must have just made up. It reads idiot.
How's that working out for you?
And has an arrow, and they hold it up to point at him. I happen to be at a pretty good angle to catch the effect. I don't like the idea of calling people names, but it is quite funny. The whole way the protest plays out is hilarious. It's great. It's very important too. Like, what makes it hilarious is that a lot of people also have a sense of humor, and they mix that in with their efforts to protest against Brandon's bad ideas here.
I'm a little bit concerned that that capitalism is being attacked and destroyed. And immigration has a lot to do with that, because we're taking in people from leftist countries, from people who have a history of bowing down to their governments.
Do you know that countries with a higher rate of refugees and immigrants have more prosperous economies?
So this is a very important point that this gentleman on the left is raising. He's pointing out that countries that bring in more immigrants and refugees tend to have better economies. And there's science to back this up, apparently. Statistics and social psychological research and global economic research, as I understand it.
This is a fact. This is an economic fact that immigrants and refugees improve local economies, both at the municipal level, the provincial level, the federal level. If you look down at the state, the municipal level, the state level.
Japanese?
I'm talking about immigrants across
Or are you
the
talking
board.
about North Africans?
I'm talking about everyone. Across the board, this is a fact.
This is a made-up fact.
What about China?
Yeah, China is a good one.
Yeah.
China is
There's a lot of Chinese immigrants who come here and start businesses which provide employment.
I'm a Chinese here and I work here.
They don't have immigration.
I'm not aware of the immigration rate into China. There isn't much of one.
Right.
Where countries, people are immigrating to, where you follow the statistics, yes, economies improve across the board with immigrants and refugees.
Depending on where
No, it's not depending, it's a fact.
No, it depends on where they're coming from.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
If you take people from China, they're going to make more. They're going to
I have a website, it's really good. It's called Google. That's not true. There's someone tapping you on the shoulder? That's not true. I mean, I'd say being, but nobody gets that. You're safe. You're safe here. You're safe here. You're welcome to leave.
Go home, Brandon. Go home, Brandon.
You want me to go home?
Yes, go home.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye, Brandon.
Excuse me. That was interesting. All right. Okay, Brendan's done. That's the end of the protest. Thanks for coming. Time to go home.
That wasn't an official pronouncement of the end of the protest, but it is pretty much over now. There's a little bit more footage I'm going to run through so you can see how it all ends, and then I'm going to open up the microphone and bring some people on to speak about this stuff.
Put your sign down.
So people unfortunately wanted him to go. I was hoping that there'd be more conversation. So here's what Brandon's sign says, because some of you may be curious. It says, Antifa are anti-freedom of association, anti-freedom of assembly, and anti-First Amendment, which is an American thing. He's brought his sign with American perspective. There's also on the right-hand side, there's a sign here that says, no comfort for racists. I'm actually running backwards down the stairs here, and I'm able to do this successfully.
Piece of shit! Fuck you, piece of shit! Fuck you, asshole! You're all by yourself!
Stay on the sidewalk, you guys.
Yeah, they're talking to me. I stepped on the road. So we're walking northbound on Cambie here. The camera view right now is facing southward. Behind us, that intersection is 12th Avenue. To the left of us is Vancouver City Hall that we just walked out of. Okay, somebody in the audience just asked, who's doing the majority of the yelling? It's a number of different people. The yelling is coming from all different directions. There are a lot of people who are very angry at Brandon because they don't like his racist attitudes. And I understand, rightfully so. Racism is something people should be angry about because it hurts people and it hurts society. And the harm it does is, in many ways, also not obvious.
Stay on the sidewalk or stay behind
So now he's gone off onto his vehicle or whatever. I'm just kind of walking back so we can see the crowd a little bit. And we'll be able to see people are still carrying their signs. Destroy white supremacy, her sign says. In solidarity with our Muslim community, a beautiful orange sign with a heart on it. Another sign says stop hate with 3 hearts.
Yeah. She's up front somewhere.
And we just saw another sign there of the Nazi swastika being crossed out. Like the do not enter, kind of do not do this thing. If you can learn how to hate, we can teach you how to love.
Just the idea
Yeah, so this is the disbursement after the protest, and it's quite orderly. This lady has a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Unifor is, I think it's a company, not a union, I'm not sure. I think it's a lumber company, actually.
Hello again.
Exactly the reason why. Yeah. And the reason why, like.
A lot of people showed up at this. I think it was a successful protest. Anyway, the rest here, we're just going down the street. I just wanted to show you, this is Broadway, which is north of the City Hall, and we're going to turn left on Cambie and head southward and go past, just give you a little view of the area. I think it'll be kind of interesting for people. I'm in the intersection here, waiting to turn. Okay, there we go. So, there's one little interaction that comes up here. It's really neat, but this is 10th Avenue, and then City Hall blocks 11th Avenue, because it's a big building, and then the next street is 12th. And so we're on Cambie right now, heading south. But the camera is facing eastward now, so we can see all these people dispersing. So this is what it's like after the protest. So just looking at the opposite side here. Business Center, and we're back to City Hall. Listen here. Freaking cool if somebody yells something. We'll hear it in a moment here. But you can see how quickly the crowd dispersed because there's so many different directions people can go.
Hey!
Somebody else is honking because they're carrying a sign. I just yelled back, hey. They weren't yelling at me, they're just yelling. Friendly. Anyway, just 20 minutes earlier, this was a sea of people here. Now this is what it normally looks like on a regular business day. You see people coming and going, although you don't see people carrying signs around. So let me see, I'm going to open up chat here. I'm just trying to open up the Google Meets, and then I'll be able to get a link and share it in the live chat, and people will be free to join. Meet.google.com. Okay, so if anybody would like to join, I've just opened it up, and we have the we'll see how this goes. If people are interested in talking, I just need a moment to get Google looking at all this. Get this on stream. Let me see here. The magic of OBS. So, thank you everybody for joining in. Please feel free to join me in the live chat if you'd like to. If you had anything you wanted to share. Here we go. If you're interested, I'm certainly would love to speak with you. My experience at this event was a really good one. I've been to protests before. I would say this is one of the best ones, and I really liked that people were sharing their points of view on so many different things. There's always so much to cover. You know, they have. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here. I mean, people have so many different points of view on this, and I see we've got Scott Duke in here. Hello. Sharing points of view on. Thank you for joining, Scott.
Hey, I just wanted to say that's a great stream.
You enjoyed it. Great.
It made me want to go get into a shoulder-to-shoulder crowd of Canadians, cross the border and just kind of join in.
Yeah.
Now, have you got? You've probably answered this before, but who exactly is this Bendan person? Is he like the Apostle Paul of white supremacy or something?
I don't know the answer to that question, but he was. What I do know is he was part of the group that was that came to Canada to talk about their views on white supremacy and to promote white supremacy. And of course, so it was talked about on the radio when I was. I heard it on the radio a week or so within the weeks coming up to it. And I thought, okay, maybe 100 to 200 or 300 people will go, because I was thinking I'm going to go and listen to what they have to say, because there was going to be a group of them. And then I was going to, my intention was to listen and then try to challenge him on some of his ideas. But then what ended up happening was thousands of people showed up. So they didn't get to do their presentation in the orderly manner that they'd hoped to. And it ended up just out in the back on the north side of the building there. And as you saw, I was really hoping that the conversation would have gone on more so we could have got to learn more about his views. Yeah. But people there weren't interested in, most people there, you could tell, weren't interested in hearing much of what he had to say. So it didn't really go very far on that. So.
Right. Now, I mentioned this in the side chat, but, it was speaking of, you were talking about other types of equality and things like that. Have you seen the Netflix film Who We Are by Jeffrey Robinson?
No. Could you give us a rundown of that, if you don't mind?
Oh, it's beautiful. He just gets up on stage and does a rundown of slavery, Reconstruction, racism in America. He's an African American gentleman, and I think he has something to do with the either the ACLU or some other activist group that basically just wants to make people aware of racism in America and white supremacy and how baked into just every, not only every institutional structure, just into culture in America. And although the material that he went over I had heard before, it's just like a complete comprehensive overview of racism in America, of white supremacy. And it's very humbling too, because you realize that the kind of history you were taught in elementary school and junior high and high school, is just a sham. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that kind of stuff happens. It's and one of the points I made is that we can't change the past, but what we do going forward is the most important thing, because at least we do have the opportunity to make changes, to make quality of life better for people and whatnot. So yeah, it really, I hate the fact that the idea of being woke or staying woke has been trivialized or attempted to be trivialized by the far right, because it really is an awakening to the power and the presence of white supremacy in our country. And you have to wake up. I mean, really, not only do we need a society of freedom, we need a society of skeptics who, even when they're told a history, go, is this true? And are they telling us everything? Yeah. Now, they can't really tell you everything, because that's impossible. I mean, who wants to become a history major in 6th grade or 8th grade or 12th grade? It's just that from the get-go, children need to be taught to ask questions about what they're being told.
and if the answers aren't being provided, to go look it up for yourself. Otherwise, it's the same kind of thing's going to happen in a new generation, because people aren't interested in finding out about the histories and the scandals and on their own.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just kind of preaching on here, I guess, but yeah,
well, it's okay.
It just makes me fear for the future, because you learn how propaganda works.
Yeah.
Eventually, it took me to 58, but you eventually learn how that propaganda is also very powerful. In the midst of all this.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think one of the important things too is like you mentioned about people being taught and to think about things and research for themselves, and obviously an important component of that is teaching them how to go to the library and
Right.
search for these things. Nowadays there's a lot of people who just go on the internet, and I think that's a mistake, because to leave out other sources, because the internet, depending on what you're using to find your information, can lead to problems, because it can end up being wrong information that you find. Whereas in a place, if people are always looking at that one source and thinking it's fully diverse, it kind of limits their total purview. So a library is a good place to go, and because there's books, very old books there, and you can still get a lot of valuable information from these older ones as well.
Yeah, what was really good in this Netflix special, or I keep calling it a special, it's a documentary on Netflix. It's more of like a presentation on Netflix, but he provided like letters that people wrote that's said the thing that he was saying, supporting either the belief in slavery that the Confederates had. It wasn't just a because of economics with the North. He provide you can go and you can find the documents behind statements that history makes. By the way, a really quick thing I saw here, a person in the side chat named Noir is asking if there's a day in Canada where Canadians commemorate Indigenous people.
I'll have to look it up. I think there is, but I'm not sure. So let me just see what I can find.
That's an important question.
Yeah,
it would be nice, like in America. If
okay.
Not
Yes.
Only
there is one. It's called National Indigenous Peoples Day 2022. Fell on Tuesday, June the 21st.
Oh, so it's not very much, not very long ago.
Yeah, it just happened.
So, yeah. I wish. I mean, talk about not being woke. I really have not gotten into the issues behind Indigenous people in America. What's going on with them? How they're being. I know, like in terms of pipelines, and I know it's very dangerous to be an Indigenous female, or especially an Indigenous female teenager in today's America. I'm talking about the United States, but
well, the pipelines here in Canada, there's a number of different Indigenous groups. Some support it, and some are against it.
Yeah, and I guess that's legitimate in terms of being Indigenous isn't just one thing, and it doesn't imply everybody is in lockstep and thinks the same and is for the same things. I think I just said fur like a Southerner is for the same things.
Oh, and I just point out a thank you to AERR. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Air in the in our audience has pointed out that September 30th is also Canada's Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So there's that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it looks like there's 2 days for this, which I think is great. You know.
Oh, one thing you find out eventually, if you're an American and trying to look at white supremacy and racism in America, is that reparations were paid for the freeing of the slaves, but that money was paid to the slave holders to compensate them for the loss of property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
it's
so
ridiculous.
They just slap your head and say, okay, all right, so this idea of reparations not being right or not being feasible, it just doesn't, it only applies to brown people.
So paying ex-slaveholders because it's compensating them for the loss of property is, in my view, a ridiculous thing. It sends a very strong message that those people who were slaves are still regarded as property. It's still recognizing the validity of that, and it should be regarded as completely invalid, in my view.
Oh yeah, it was just, of course, the payments were made like after, like during Reconstruction, immediately after the Civil War ended. So I don't think anybody's getting payments for not having slaves anymore, other than the privileged position that they have.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, it gets complicated.
Excuse me. Oh yeah.
But
it's just it's really rotten in our history how people have mistreated each other, and there's huge calls for changing this and improving this, but it's not something that I think is going to happen quickly, because there's still a lot of resistance to it. And the fact that there's people who are promoting racist ideals, they're kind of trying to keep the foundation for that intact, and I have problems with that as well,
By the way, the barking that you just heard,
yeah,
that was from the dog that's pictured in my avatar.
Oh, okay.
She is awfully protective, and even if somebody's in their yard across the street, she has to let me know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well,
I don't have much else to contribute.
I'm glad you joined in. Thank you very much. If nobody else wants to join in, I guess we'll probably end that pretty soon. I know you've been busy on Speed of Sound's streams, Answers and Atheism. How are things going with that? You guys have another early morning stream tomorrow, or?
I don't think so. In fact, we were supposed to have one yesterday, but both of us just kind of forgot at the same time.
Oh.
So I was in the middle of my day going, wait, we didn't do. And we're going over a book by Jason Rosenhaus called The Failure of Mathematical Anti-Evolutionism. In other words, it's a book that just deals with some of the BS you get in terms of the way creationists use probability, the way they talk about information theory, the way they talk about protein spaces and things like that as being, it's just so impossible for evolution to have taken place. It had to be, life had to come about through intelligent design. And Rosenhaus is a PhD mathematics professor, and he just deals with those different topics. So it's an interesting book, and our intention is to do each chapter, just review each chapter so that people get a good overview of that. So come join us if you want to see that take place, but we'll have to be more diligent and not forget.
Yeah, your streams are always interesting. I'm just going to find a link to it and post it in the live text chat so other people can find you as well.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. And
are you going to be available this afternoon to join us for our Friday antics?
It's actually a day off here, and we might have some family. I think we have family plans.
Okay.
We're going to events and things, so probably
Well,
not.
I'm definitely going to point people to this particular live stream. I thought it was just very interesting. I love the color commentary you made with it, and it just reminds people that there are issues everywhere, and we all have to be diligent to fight racism, white supremacy, and inequality.
Yeah. And
All right.
I know there's people who say don't celebrate Canada Day, but this is something I grew up with, and it's like telling someone not to celebrate their birthday. What I do is I focus on the important issues, though, and I think reviewing this protest from August 2017 was a good way to do this. It made for a good topic for today, and what I really like about it is that it shows that there are a lot of people here in Canada who care about this stuff and really want for the world to be a better place. And
I really want for freedom for everybody, and I'm glad that there's a nation like yours out there.
You're talking about the Canadian atheists. Yeah, thank you. And that's
because Canadian atheists and any groups that organize people to care. Because there's so much apathy and uncaring, and maybe it's that people feel disconnected and helpless, but helpless to do anything about things, and people who show them that they don't have to feel that way are very important. One thing about like this is our July 4th weekend, which is the weekend of firecrackers and picnics and, of course, stump speeches by candidates and things. But I consider this dog torture weekend because of the fireworks that people have, usually illegally, all over the neighborhoods. Because my dogs are going to spend the weekend frightened and huddling at my feet because there's all these blasted noises going off.
See, here in Canada, the laws here are that there's an exception to these fireworks restrictions for July 1st, Canada Day, for New Year's Eve, and for there's another event. And then what was added to it recently, in recent decades, was for Chinese New Year, because there's a lot of Chinese people here, and it's a traditional thing. So the police are pretty easygoing about this. Like if you're going out and acting really reckless with it, you're still going to get in trouble. But I can remember one Halloween there were some kids that were running around holding the base of a Roman candle, and it's shooting off these balls, and they're using it like a gun to shoot at other kids. So the police ended up finding them and taking care of it. But it was ridiculous. They're scaring the heck out of people. There's nasty people, right? So, but that got stopped pretty quickly. So that was good. So, but it's it is scary for the animals because they don't really understand what's going on, and I guess. I'm not sure what can be done about that, because at the same time we don't really want to stop everybody's enjoyment of these occasions, right? So
well, I just basically I was planning on staying home so my dogs won't be as scared. And
they probably come and cuddle up close to you when it happens, don't they?
Oh, they better do, like under my feet.
Or in your lap or whatever. The cats, I find cats are generally pretty okay with it. It's dogs that just go nuts. I think it's partly because their hearing is so sensitive too, and that probably really scares them. I imagine it's probably not great for horses either, who have very sensitive hearing.
I hadn't thought about that, but they're probably in areas where that's not as prominent.
Well,
listen, I better go. thanks again for such a great live stream, and maybe you should do more of these. It's all very interesting.
This is one I did last year as well, and so Canada is kind of a personal thing for me to do this. So it's just.
And I know you were not an immigrant because you were carved out of a snow drift. So
yeah.
So it's like you're legendary in that way. So.
Well, it's. I was born in Vancouver, BC, and so I've been living here in Canada all my life, here in British Columbia, in the Greater Vancouver area.
But to clarify that, there's nothing wrong with being an immigrant at all.
Of course,
I'm not saying that.
And my parents were also born in Canada, and their parents, I think, were, but before that, there may have been some immigration. So it's multiple generations. I've been here, so I see this, and it's never occurred to me to differentiate between people based on their birth origins or their race or their sex or anything. We're all people, and we all have our strengths and of course our weaknesses, and some strengths and weaknesses are common and some aren't. And the thing is, with the diversity that we have here in Canada, people can all contribute in different ways and make things hopefully better for everyone in the long run. So yeah, one of the recent things I'm doing to put out an idea for philosophy is this idea of everybody having automatically giving every person a minimum amount of respect, no matter what. Even that Bendan fellow in the video, even politicians that you may hate because they've done terrible things. And this is an easy one to justify because every conscious person has their consciousness enhanced by memory, which is, when you think about it, an extremely rare occurrence through our observable universe, and probably the entire cosmos, I'm going to assume. I think is a reasonable assumption to make. And so, because this thing is so rare, and because this means that there's a potential for people to change their views and change their habits and change their approaches to things, then that way, that's what makes this remarkable, and it makes this such a great thing. So because we all have this as a natural part of who we are, that characteristic alone means that we're deserving of at least a very minimum level of respect. And so I like to try to encourage everyone to go forward with this, because if more people in the world, everyone would be great, but there are some people who don't do this, obviously, but if more people do this, take this approach, then in the long run, the world can and hopefully will be a better place for everybody overall. And we can have, because what it'll do is it encourages people to develop a more comprehensive and more custom-tailored life experience for themselves and live life more fully. And when you have this, and you have people feeling more encouraged and supported to do something like this, I think that's much better for society. So that's kind of an idea that I'm working out and working toward presenting in a written form.
I encourage you to do so. All right, listen, I better go. Happy Canada Day to you.
Thank you, Duke. Really appreciate you, Scott Duke. I really appreciate you joining me here and chatting it up. And I'll try to at least tune into the live stream later that you're going to do with Speed of Sound on Answers in Atheism.
Speed of Sound. Yep. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was very nice. And since nobody else has joined in, I do appreciate everybody being here. Thank you. I'm going to end this now. We've got these a little bit of video showing here of some Canadian video footage, but I'm going to have to end this anyway because I've got family commitments and whatnot to deal with, but to attend to. And I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you so very much. and I look forward to doing another one of these next year and in the following years. And practice makes perfect. I'm much better at it this time than I was with the first one I did. If anybody was there for it, you might remember I ran into a few audio challenges. This one I think went a lot more smoothly. It's now that I've had practice with OBS and making things run, and I'm seeing all your comments in the live text chat, people saying Happy Canada Day and sharing your perspectives, positive perspectives as well as the negative ones. I appreciate all of it, and this means so much to me that so many people tune in and take an interest in what I do. So thank you very much, and I just delighted that you joined me. I hope you all have a wonderful July 1st, Canada Day, and hoping that we can all contribute to building a better future for everyone. Hopefully you'll feel inspired to join some protests and with the best possible decorum to bring about the best possible outcomes. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you again.